Finally, we're back.
Technical
Again.
issues causing me pain.
Yep, it's been 6 weeks, right?
It hasn't been 6 weeks.
4 weeks, I think.
It has not.
3 to 4.
It has not been that long.
It
It's
has.
been 2.
It has.
It's been 2.
No. Anyway. You've forgotten everything, I assume?
Okay, so what I remember is we had the... No, not it. We had a party. And Angie was the star of the party with Ava. And then she went around asking all these questions, but we didn't get to ask riddled questions. No, we had to answer the questions. We had to answer riddles, but there's still people we had to answer the questions for. And then she went to sleep.
No, we finished them.
I thought there was still Butler and Beatrice.
I guess you could say the riddle is like the game itself.
Yeah, but she didn't get asked it directly.
Well, the party got gate crashed.
So
they wasn't gate crashed. Byrne came in. She was invited.
Yeah, they put Angie to sleep. Well, Angie fell asleep, so they just put her away. She woke up. It was a locked room, and got lured out by a mysterious black cat, out the window into the rain, and then you had Byrne come in.
Byrne came in, and we are being introduced to Byrne's game as the other game master.
Yeah, apparently it was never our game.
No, we've got 2 games going at the same time. They opened the game board at the exact moment.
Why my brain?
That's not too hard.
Everything.
So Battler created his game, Byrne created hers, and now, I think this chapter is essentially just all Byrne's game. I think. I don't know if it's like just one chapter or multiple, but
she literally is.
We'll
Goldilocks woke up and broke up the party. Byrne Castle, why must you do this to us? Why? I can't remember.
At some point. What can't you remember?
Who was reading?
Well, this is just a narration, so I'll do it.
You know what? You're going to say that and then it's going to be like, Angie thought...
No, it says Angie had fainted, so it can't be Angie.
Fine.
And if it is, then I am refunding the game. At some point, Angie had fainted and fallen to the floor. Now, her consciousness was slowly returning, forcing her to remember what had happened in this room. So, she reflexively averted her gaze even before the memory overtook her. 6 bodies lay in the blood-stained dining hall. Strangely enough, as her consciousness returned bit by bit, the terrifying scene before her seemed somehow less intense. This time, Angie was able to look at the 6 corpses well enough to make out who they were. And now it's you.
First, those are my own parents. They're a pitiful sight, colored bright red by a bloody makeup. And lying next to them are Uncle Hideyoshi and Aunt Ava. Uncle Hideyoshi, the uncle who always says funny things and makes me laugh. And Aunt Ava, the aunt who seems to be so fond of me. Genji-san, the servant, is lying over there. And the one lying right here is Aunt Rosa. 6 people. A full 6 people had their lives taken from them and are lying in this room.
Let's see if we got hints. Here we lose Ava.
Ava, Genji,
Yeah, nothing yet.
Hideyoshi.
Maybe I cried myself out before I fell unconscious. The scene before me was still terribly painful, but I somehow was able to look at it without losing my head. I'd already felt all the sadness I could at my parents' deaths. The next emotion that rose up inside me was a desire to check and see that everyone else was okay. In that instant, I heard a scraping sound. Just as I was about to relax again, thinking I must have imagined it, I heard the same sound again. It was probably coming from the door. Someone was clawing at the door from the outside. Of course, I had no way of knowing who it was. However, for some reason, I was sure that it was that black cat scratching at that door. The black cat was telling me to leave this room. I understood and put my hand on the doorknob.
Is this Angie, like, is she basically getting kidnapped into Burns' game?
I guess that's one way to look at it.
So Burn is sort of like taking a piece from their game and put it into hers.
Yeah.
Huh? I immediately noticed something odd. The door was locked. The same bad feeling I'd felt after being locked in the parlor crawled up my spine. However, unlike the time in the parlor, this door unlocked itself easily when I turned the knob. I unlocked it and slowly opened the door. Beyond the door, I could see the dimly lit hallway and a cat dashing down it away from me. Then it stopped, its emerald eyes glittering in the darkness, as though it was waiting for me to follow. The hallway was dark and wrapped in an eerie silence. When the black cat saw that I was coming, it walked forward as if guiding me. I could hear nothing except the creaking of the floor, the bell of the cat, and the sound of the storm outside. The party is being held in the hall. I should be able to hear at least a little of the noise from this hallway. Maybe it got really late when I was unconscious in the dining hall. It was a reasonable conclusion. Then we finally reached the main hall. The hall was frigid and no trace of that party remained. Could all of that fun have been just an illusion? The black cat's bell rang out. When I looked up, I saw that it had its feet on the stairway to the second floor, urging me to follow it. Are you going to the second floor? The black cat seemed to nod, then silently went up the stairs. Guests were allowed to go wherever they wanted on the first floor, but the second floor was Krause's family's house, and I remembered getting in trouble for trying to go up there. However, at this moment I couldn't think of any options other than following that cat. Ominous lightning. I walked along the dark hallway with the black cat. Eventually we reached one of the doors. The black cat scratched at that door, then turned to look at me. It must have been telling me to open it.
Wait, is this black cat, what's her face?
What's the face?
What's her name? The one that they were asking about. She was hiding.
Erica.
Yeah, is the black cat Erica? Did Bonecastle turn Erica into a cat as punishment for losing?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll open it up for you. I put my hand on the doorknob and felt the resistance of a lock again. The door is locked. I turned around to tell the cat this, but inexplicably, a single key lay right in front of the cat.
Angie picked it up and stuck it in the keyhole. As she did, she finally noticed something strange with her fingertips. Blood. Somehow, Angie's fingertips had been stained red with blood. She let out a short cry, and the key slipped out and fell to the ground. She finally realized. In the darkness, she hadn't noticed before. The black cat's key was covered with blood. The emotions that had gone numb in Angie sprang back. A terrified scream rang out through the dark hallway. Even so, Angie would eventually open that door. That door led to Natsuhi's room. Natsuhi's room was a terrible mess. Blankets and sheets were torn. Cosmetics and books lay all over the place, as though a typhoon had just ripped through it. And there were corpses. Kraus and Natsuhi's corpses lay sprawled on the floor. Very shortly, Angie will step into this room. She will then scream in terror once more. And it isn't limited to the dining hall and Natsuhi's room. In the stormy rose garden, Shannon's tragic corpse lies exposed. Partway down the path to the rose garden is Jessica's corpse. When Angie finds that, she'll probably dash crying and screaming into the guest house. And death awaits her inside the guest house as well. Just inside the front door is Nanjo's corpse. In the servant room nearby, even Goto and Kumasawa lie dead. The total number of corpses is 13. A full 13 corpses are waiting for Angie. They wait in the mansion and the guest house on this desolate Rikenjima. For Angie, exposed to the wind and rain and tormented by thunder to find them. Nice.
Did we finish early last time?
Yeah, we must have finished early. I think we skimmed through it and we'll just make sure this isn't just a brief chapter thing, and it was nice.
I remember we were struggling, we were really tired. That was some reason why we didn't continue on.
Because I assumed it didn't do the transition, and I assumed it was doing the full game at once. So I was like, oh, we'll just end it there. It was close enough. It's fine.
Oh well.
Let's continue then, I guess. The tragedy of the first twilight was discovered at 6 in the morning on the following day. Goda, who had woken up to get breakfast ready, went to check on the adult siblings who had remained in the dining hall since the previous night because of the family conference. Tell us about when you discovered the crime. The dining hall was locked up. Of course, there is a lock on the doors to the dining hall, but they usually remain unlocked. I knocked, but there was no answer.
That's when I arrived. I recommended that he try unlocking the door just in case.
You do notice, right? You text?
Purple text, yes.
Purple text. When I unlocked the door with a master key, a terrifying sight awaited me inside.
Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, Rudolph-sama, Kirie-sama, Rosa-sama, and Genji-san. 6 people in all were lying there covered in blood. I can't do Kumasawa's voice today. What's going on?
Great tumult followed. Everyone gathered in the dining hall.
Oh, I don't want to remember it. The sight of all the sobbing children crouched over the corpses of their own parents. There was a chance that he might have still been alive. Just 'cause it's different every week. Everyone was shaking them desperately. But it was no use. Each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents.
Dr. Najo and I confirmed that Genshi-sama was dead.
Such a gruesome way to be killed. No one is going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself.
It looks like all of the victims died instantly.
Oh, Maria.
What do you think the purple is?
I have no thoughts. My brain is empty. I'm sorry. I'm like the worst.
If you were to...
The worst person to be doing like this thinking stuff with.
Well, if just like take a guess, what would you think purple would mean here?
All right, so let's
It's a
reflect.
wild stab.
Let's reflect. So we have the red truth,
This is guaranteed truth.
guaranteed. What was the blue
It's
truth?
a factual statement. Blue truth is like a theory. It's a...
That can't be refuted because of the facts.
It can be refuted with the red. And I guess on occasion you could refute it with blue and you'd have contradicting theories.
I'm trying to remember what it.
So it's like you'd go blue truth, I think Natsuki is the culprit
Mm-hmm.
because of this.
And then someone could go
red truth would be like, well, Natsuki couldn't have done this because of this fact. And then they'd rebut with another blue truth, etc.
Can we go back a little bit? Just to see what the
No,
purple.
you probably won't see the purple
Uh,
because it's, yeah.
uh, hmm.
Red and blue does make purple, doesn't it?
Would that be what, a factual theory? Or the actual truth? It does seem very facty though. Like, the victims died instantly
Mm-hmm.
is not
I,
really...
I think it will tell you. I'm just curious what you think it is.
Could it be evidence?
Evidence, maybe?
Like... So, like,
Well,
evidence is facts. But it's like, this is what...
right now
You
it's all
know.
statements.
Yeah.
Like, these are, I guess, they're not witnesses of the crime, they're witnesses of the scene, if that makes sense. Like, they didn't see the crime happen, but they were there to see that something had happened.
Yeah.
And so this is their observations, I guess.
Okay.
After inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all of the doors and windows had been locked, making it a closed room.
Could it just be findings then? But I
Maybe.
still feel like that's kind of like evidence.
It's it is pretty simple, but we'll keep going first. It's fine. Don't worry. And nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall? Of course, there was no one hiding in the dining hall either. Naturally. All of us are here right now. It's clear that no one is hiding.
But Dad, if that's true, it doesn't make sense. 6 people were killed and the dining hall is a closed room. How could someone have killed them and escaped?
I'd rather not think of it. But perhaps the servants with their master keys are the most suspicious.
They killed the 6, then left and locked the door with their master keys. It is a logical theory. That's absurd! Since there was no chance of the culprit hiding inside the dining hall, it made sense to assume the culprit locked the door after committing the murder and exiting the room. It was only natural that the servants with their master keys would have fallen under suspicion. And sadly enough, none of the servants had an alibi. Then again, it wasn't only the servants. Everyone else lacked an alibi as well. Is there any way to lock up from the outside without a master key? No, there isn't. That's not enough. I'll say it with the red truth. All doors can be locked only from... All doors can only be locked or unlocked with a master key. Of course, it is possible to lock or unlock the doors from inside the room, even without a master key.
There you have it. Any other questions?
Shouldn't there be keys to each individual room, in addition to the master keys?
Normally those would exist. However, they make the game more complicated, so I've eliminated them. A red truth. We'll consider master keys to be the only keys that exist. In other words, all of the keys that lock... I can't talk. All of the word... Stop! It's just this pose. I've never seen it before. He's looking at me like that. In other words, all of the locks that appear in this game can only be locked or unlocked by master keys.
That's what it means. It really is a simple game.
In that case, we should now check the number of master keys and who holds them.
There are 5 master keys total. 1 is held by each of the 5 servants. The keys will be managed in a special way. The servants keep master keys on their person at all times, so it is impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any human other than themselves. What the heck? Now they're sounding less like keys and more like a fingerprinting system.
That's an interesting metaphor. In other words, in the world of this game, it isn't the master keys, but the 5 servants themselves that can lock or unlock doors.
We tried to retrieve Genji-san's master key, but had no luck.
To guard against trouble later on, we destroyed Genji's master key.
This was the crime of the first Twilight. The scene was the locked closed room of the dining hall. None of the servants holding master keys have alibis. Then again, no one else has an alibi either. Everyone returned to the parlor to discuss what should be done next. The phones were out, so they couldn't contact the police. Was the mysterious culprit hiding away somewhere, planning to attack their next victim at this very moment? Or was the culprit in here with them, mentally sticking out their tongue and tasting their next prey? None of them had alibis, and any of them could have been a culprit. However, that tense feeling didn't last long. By midday, everyone got tired of arguing, and they decided to take a break. Kraus and Naku announced that they wanted to talk with each other alone and went up to the second floor. That was the beginning, and after that, everyone went their separate ways now and then, such as to head to the bathroom or gaze at the endless rain. However, no matter how much time passed, Kraus and Naku were the only ones who didn't return.
Oh dear.
Calls were sent to both Kraus and Naku's rooms using the extension phone line, but there was no answer. Something might have happened. Everyone headed to Kraus and Naku's rooms together, and in Naku's room, they found Kraus and Naku lying sprawled on the floor. Madame's room was locked! It's just like the dining hall.
After getting everyone's permission, I unlocked the door.
Kraus-sama and Naku-sama lay sprawled on the floor inside the room. Dr. Naju checked their pulse. Then he announced that the 2 of them had died instantly.
Correct. I confirmed both of their deaths. there can be no doubt that they died instantly.
I searched all over the room looking for a clue. In the end, I found that the windows and doors had all been locked, making it a closed room.
Oh, another closed room! We servants all have master keys, so we'll be suspected again!
But have no fear.
I love Goda's
After
face.
Madame began to suspect us, we started keeping an eye on each other.
All of us servants were together the whole time.
All of us servants can prove an alibi for all the other servants.
What if they're all in on it?
Now that's interesting. So, you're saying that this closed room is even more complete? In the case of the first closed room, no one had an alibi. So, for this closed room, all of them have alibis.
I just took a big gulp of water. In this world, the servants themselves become living master keys. Since those servants have perfect alibis, it was impossible to lock Natsuki's room.
We decided to preserve the crime scene as it was.
We put packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them.
I'm sure the culprit left some sort of clue in this room. We made sure that no one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived.
Then, we did the same to the dining hall. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way.
We reached the conclusion that the entire mansion itself should be preserved. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house.
They sealed the whole mansion? Packing tape on all the windows? They even used a ladder for the windows on the third floor? The game would get complicated otherwise, so I've simplified it. All of the windows had steel bars on them, so it's impossible to enter or leave by them. Therefore, we'll say that they can seal the whole mansion by sealing the two doors, the front one and the back one. Got it. That makes it easy.
What do you think?
Actually, killing the two people in Aunt Nasi's room would be easy. Someone just had to knock and get them to open the door. However, they can't lock it afterwards.
Only the servants can lock doors. But all of the servants have alibis.
Unless the servants are all in it together. More importantly, the first twilight has me suspicious.
You think that one of the Sikhs who died in the dining hall was actually alive and committed the crime?
It's because of Erica. I can't help but be suspicious when people are examining corpses.
So, you think that one of the first 6 victims was alive?
Yeah, and afterwards they killed Kraus and Natsuhi. Then they locked the door from the inside, hid inside the room, and found a good chance to escape.
That theory does make logical sense.
I'll say it in red. The culprit of the first twilight really did kill 6 people.
Then I'll take a shot with the blue truth. Here is the true nature of this closed room. The culprit locked the door from the inside that hid in Natsuki's room. Then, after everyone left, they found an opportunity to escape.
Sure, I'll deny that in red. The group sealed the room at the same time they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. Also, all of the seals in Natsuhi's room, the dining hall, and the mansion itself will not be broken.
In other words, you can't use that trick when they hide underneath the bed and slip out later.
Interesting. Nice going, Bernkastel. Thanks. This was the crime of the second twilight. The scene was Nasi's room, a locked closed room. This time, all of the servants with master keys have alibis. The whole group, realizing the dangers of being inside the mansion, took shelter in the guest house. Did we have a third?
I actually don't know.
I feel like
We skipped one.
all those who took refuge in the guest house decided to hole up in there until the typhoon passed. There, if everyone watched everyone else, they should be able to prevent further crimes both from inside and outside. However, they wouldn't be able to keep it up without any breaks until the typhoon passed. Once again, their actions left a weak point open, and they were faced with yet another tragedy. Shannon-chan and Kanakun went outside on an errand and still haven't come back?
George and his son got upset, so we all went outside to look for him. Oh, we found Shannon-chan lying there in the rose garden. Oh, poor Shannon-chan.
I prayed she was still alive. However, I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead.
Of course, I also examined her and confirmed her death.
When the two of them left, we were busy checking the locks around the guest house, so not one of us has an alibi. Me? Kill her? How could I have killed her?
That's right. Jules or Nick-chan couldn't kill her. Ooh.
Later on, we learned that George and his son alone had an alibi. At the very least, George and his son couldn't possibly have killed Shannon.
What's the alibi?
To turn it around, anyone other than George Aniki could have killed her. To prevent the culprit from using it for any mischief, we destroyed the master key of Shannon's son suddenly had on the spot.
He's like, she's dead, I don't know her anymore.
At the time Shannon was killed, Cannon goes missing forever. From now on, Cannon is treated as being killed. Also, Cannon's master key is treated as being destroyed. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, technically they're the same person, aren't they?
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it'd be rude, so I kept quiet about it. But that's what happens when Shannon dies.
In other words, we can interpret this as Shannon and Cannon being killed at the same time, even though we're missing a corpse.
And that's right. Looks like the crimes are moving along. This was the crime of the fourth twilight. The scene was the rose garden. There were no locks or doors. It wasn't a closed room, so the master keys were no longer a factor. Then the pace of the crimes began to accelerate. Everyone took shelter in the guest house. They carefully sealed all doors and windows, locking themselves in a closed room. However, several closed murders had already occurred. Could locking themselves in a closed room do anything more than invite another tragedy? After arguing fiercely in the cousin room about finding the culprit, they decided that they should double check Najo, Kumasawa, and Goda's testimony. And there, they learned that a tragedy had occurred once more.
In both Goda-san's and Kumasawa-san's cases, such wounds would have resulted in instant deaths, I believe. Such a gruesome way to die.
Like hell they could survive with wounds like this.
I was about to go Jessica Jen.
Goda-san and Kumasawa-san are both dead.
Well, we have been busy keeping a lookout and locking up for all that. Once again, none of us has an alibi. And that's not true. Look, if they were killed in that way, the culprit would definitely have gotten blood spatter on themselves.
But Dr. Nanjo and all of the cousins have no blood splatter on them.
All of us, in other words, the 4 cousins and Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda-san or Kumasawa-san.
In that case, it's clear that the culprit is someone other than us. I guess that someone might have snuck in, so I checked around, but the guest house was still completely locked up.
Perhaps the culprit has a master key after all.
That's impossible. No master keys exist anymore except the 2 keys on the 2 people who lie dead here.
Since the 2 master keys that exist are here inside the guest house, that makes this guest house a perfect closed room.
Wow. Since someone's dead, it obviously wasn't perfect.
This was the crime of the 5th and 6th Twilights. The scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Goda's and Kumasawa's master keys were also destroyed, meaning that all master keys have now been lost. Now, no one can break into this closed room guest house. At least, that should have been the case. How?
They're dropping like flies.
This time, Dr. Nanjo was killed. He died in the entrance hall of the guest house.
Thank goodness.
It's
My
far too
voice is
foolish of
getting
him.
so tired of his voice.
It's far too foolish of him to come here alone to check that everything was locked.
He's dead? He's been killed?
Even I can say for sure that this was an instant death.
Everything is locked up perfectly. How did it happen if this is a closed room?
That means the culprit is one of us.
Impossible! Judging by the circumstances, Maria Battler, George Nissan and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo.
In the first place, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. And look at this. Simply put, this is the proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house.
That means no one could kill Dr. Nanjo, right? So how was he killed?
No one could answer that innocent question. This was the 7th Twilight. Once again, the crime scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Various bits of evidence made this crime seem even more impossible. Then, the tragedy reached the 8th Twilight, the final one. By now, it was clear that holding up wouldn't keep them safe. Jessica might have chosen anger as a way to numb her fear. She flew out of the guest house in a rage, searching for the culprit that surely hid somewhere outside. George, Battler, and Maria hurriedly chased after her. Then, outside the building, they found Jessica lying on the ground.
Death. What? She literally
It's just like her
went
mum in the
outside.
first episode.
Oh my
I'm gonna get you, Beatrice! He was, as anyone could tell at a glance, a gruesome corpse. Poor Jessica-chan. She probably died instantly.
How is George, like, standing in the rain not also a meme, like the Kaneki meme?
I've never seen him do this pose before.
Really?
Like, I think these... Yeah, there's some, like, Battler, like, folding his arms. I've never seen them before.
It gives me... I swear we've seen George being, like, doing this before. It gives me such strong, like... Oh, she got
Well, he's not looking up.
I know, but it's, like, another version of that.
It's like, it should have been me!
Shannon, my one true love, I will never let go. And it's, I don't know, I think him and Shannon are a little bit unhealthy, but that's okay. Let's, Maria.
There's no way anyone could live through this.
3 of us were together the whole time. George, Aniki, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica.
Yeah, the 3 of us couldn't have killed Jessica.
As if Maria-chan could kill someone.
She looks like she could.
Maria-chan couldn't
Look at
kill
that
anyone.
smile.
Thanks. George Oni-chan couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid, though.
I don't understand it at all. What the hell is going on here? This was the 8th twilight. The crime scene was outside. However, the 3 who chased after Jessica have alibis. George, Battler, and Maria couldn't have killed Jessica. So, is there really someone hiding on this island apart from the Ushirimiya family? The curtain is lowered on this tale for now.
What? Why?
And that's all for my tale.
It's pretty well made. If you had a full-on reader, it'd stand up well against Beatrice's games.
I agree there. You did a good job.
Well, the real work comes from taking this, reading it and making it worthy of proper theatre going.
Still, I'm stumped. On the face of it, the culprit has to be some mysterious person outside the Ushirimiya family.
And that would be the same as acknowledging the existence of a witch. We can also suspect the existence of some accomplices aiding the culprit.
By the way, what was that purple text all about? A new rule? I call them purple statements. It's a rule I made to make the story a bit easier to follow. Just think of purple statements as important spoken statements. In other words, you might be able to ignore the spoken statements that aren't purple. Oh, well, that's nice of you.
Then, are the purple statements as reliable as red truth?
Yes, you can think of the purple statements as having the same power as red truth. However, there's one exception. A culprit can tell lies with purple statements.
Oh.
I see. To turn it around, anyone who isn't a culprit can't tell lies.
Purple statements. These seem to be the key to Lady Burnquistle's game.
So it's kind of like that puzzle. It's like there's 2 people telling the truth, 1 person who's lying, and like you have to figure it out between them. You can kind of think of the purple as like that. Yeah, that's right. I'll explain the rules. The definition of culprit is one who murders. It is possible for a culprit to lie. It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with the culprit. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. A culprit must not die. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. Purple statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. And that's all.
Does that
The
insinuate...
definition of culprit. Yeah?
Sorry, I was going to ask, does that insinuate that there's more than one culprit? Because
Who
only
knows?
culprits can talk and assist other culprits.
You don't think it was just one person?
Well, going from what she's saying, I'm open to the suggestion and possibility that there might be more than one.
Alright, we'll find out after the break. The definition of culprit is one who murders. Makes sense.
It is possible for a culprit to lie. That seems reasonable enough too.
It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Well, no surprises there.
Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. How convenient.
Characters who are not oh my goodness. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit, right?
So, the culprit can't make accomplices tell lies to match their version of events.
Damn. My guess was that someone manufactured an alibi to cover for the culprit, but... Oh, too bad.
A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. In other words, there are no remote or indirect methods of murder like traps.
A culprit must not die. In other words, they can't commit murder from a closed room, then commit suicide in it.
Doesn't that mean that dead people can't be culprits?
That's a simple yet vital piece of information.
A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. So this isn't about some mysterious stranger who snuck onto the island. The appearing characters are the same old 17 people after Kinzo was removed. No one else appears in the story, so no one else matters.
Purple's statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with Purple's statements. Now here's a troublesome one.
It might be the heart of this game. Does that cover all of this game's basic rules? Besides that, I guess there's only the reader will tell no lies. In other words, outside of spoken statements, there are no lies in narration. I could have added that stuff if I wanted, but it'd be a pain and make things complicated.
So, you willingly abandoned a witch's privileges? You seem quite confident.
She probably plans to win despite that. And that's all from me. I don't intend to give you any more hints or answer any more questions.
As the observer, I'll proclaim this once again. I guarantee that it's possible to pinpoint the culprit with this information.
Okay, got it.
I can't wait to get started. I can't believe the two of us are going to take on the same mystery together once more.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Mr. Rikishi, this is a real game between you and me. I recommend finding some paper and something to write with. That is, if you really intend to fight me.
Breaking the fourth
Do you
wall
get
there.
completely stuck? Maybe you should listen in on Battler and Beato's reasoning. We'll have those be hints for when you get absolutely stumped and can't move forward. Still, I'd rather fight you one-on-one, if you plan to enjoy our little duel, than try defeating me by your own power alone, without relying on hints. Okay, let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? Enjoy this game that I've created, just for you. Here we go.
What?
It's up to us now. We've got to figure it out.
Wait, what? Really?
Yep.
I told you I got no brain
got-
power.
No, this one's easy. You can do it. So we've got read again, which would be we go through the story again, show the rules, check purple. We'll be using this, I think. Hints would be Battler and Beatrice. It'd be like ask Aunt Ava kind of thing. And then we've got culprit select, which is like, you know, obviously
So
once
that-
you think you figured it
whole
out.
scene where it was like, let's have fun for Angie, it was just prepping us for this. Pretty much.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like I've been lied to.
Let's have a look at the purple. How do we want to look at it? By chapter or by character?
Let's go by character.
By character. Who do you want to look at?
Let's go with Nanjo. His is probably the
Nanjo.
most simple, because it was mostly...
He is the doctor. He's an important
Yeah.
character.
So he's like confirming the deaths, pretty much.
So in the first Twilight, which was Ava, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, Kirie, Rosa, and Genji, it was a gruesome way to be killed. No one is going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself.
So
What does that mean to you?
when people confirm a death, it means they've died.
It means it's confirmed, basically.
Yeah.
Or doesn't? Second Twilight.
Well, unless he's the
Confirmed
killer.
both of their deaths. Who was the second Twilight?
I don't. I was
Second
surprised
Twilight
you
was
remembered
Kraus.
the first Twilight.
Well, they're all red. And we didn't see Rosa and Genji, so I just remembered that they were dead. So second was Kraus and Natsuhi, I believe.
There can be no doubt they
So-
died instantly.
Yeah. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house. I mean, do you think he's the culprit?
Did they confirm that you can't fake your death?
They didn't, I don't think.
Because tricky.
Firstly, do you think Najo is a culprit? Because
I
remember, the
I
culprit
thought about
alone
it.
can lie.
I thought about it,
Yeah.
but he died, so that's why I was saying before, like it was confirmed that they couldn't.
Well, if you want to go by who dies, you got to remember at the end everyone had an alibi. And yet people were still dying.
Yeah, I know.
So, remember, the culprit can lie with purple. Can you find any contradictions in his purple?
The only contradiction would be with the first one is that we know the killer can lie.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Where am I going with this?
So what I was getting at was that in the second Twilight, he says, we sealed the mansion and all of us took refuge in the guest house. That was a fact. They all did that.
Mm.
So there's no lie there. Fourth Twilight, he examined and confirmed her death. Fourth was Shannon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And fifth and sixth, just whether we need to go down and consider that. Okay. You want to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Who should we look at?
Maybe let's go to the top and look at the first family.
Kraus. Everyone gathered in the dining hall. After inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all of the doors and windows had been locked, making it a closed room. It's clear that no one is hiding. How do you feel about that?
And he's still alive, isn't he?
He died in the second Twilight.
True.
So the Reddit out characters have all died. They never got a chance to give any purple.
Okay.
Then we have Natsuhi says, we destroyed Genji's master key.
I feel like the key bit is what's gonna be the key. No pun intended.
Keys could be important.
Like, because I think the lie is gonna be in there.
There could be a lie in the keys, yeah. So Jessica was in there until the end of the game, so she had a bit of purple. She found that the windows and doors were all locked for her parents' closed room murder. would be able to leave or enter until the police arrived, so they sealed it. Fourth, we all went outside to look for them. Do you think that's a lie, maybe?
Who was still alive at this point, though?
Fourth. So that was Shannon. Cannon went missing. Well, Shannon died. Cannon went missing. George, Jessica, Maria, Goto, Kumasawa, Nanjo, and Battler. So they all went looking. Later on, they learned that George had an alibi. At the very least, George couldn't kill Shannon. We can assume that that's because of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Goto and Kumasawa are both dead. The 4 cousins and Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goto-san or Kumasawa. So the 4 cousins remained, and then Kumasawa and Goto died. No. Nanjo and the 4 cousins couldn't have killed Kumasawa or Goto. So these 2 died, and then he's dead, he's been killed. She says Maria, Battler, George, and I couldn't have killed Nanjo. George. No one hiding in the dining hall. I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. The guest house is still completely locked up. This wasn't instant death. No one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. Probably died instantly. Maria couldn't kill anyone. I think that's a big one too. Do you agree with that statement?
Depends on your method of killing.
Right,
I could
let's
see
go
her
around the
cursing
battle then.
someone.
Cursing? This is a mystery, not a fantasy.
I don't know, but that's what I could see. I want to call it Beatrice, not Beatrice. So I could see Adi doing
First Twilight Battler says nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall. Second, Nanjo checked their pulse, then he announced that the 2 of them had died instantly. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way. To turn around, anyone other than George and Nikki could have killed her. None of us has an alibi. It's impossible. No master keys exist anywhere except the 2 keys and the 2 people who lie dead here. Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. George and Nikki. I couldn't have killed Jessica. I'm just thinking of this one, 5th and 6th. Because he says none of us has an alibi. But does anyone actually have an alibi? I'm trying to remember.
I had a micro sleep.
I assumed you were fully asleep. We looked at Nanjo, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we looked at Nanjo. I thought Kumasawa's dead.
She is.
Why is she not
All
red?
victims died instantly. Because she has purple. That's when I arrived. Not one of us has an alibi. That's the 4th Twilight. Okay, so I was saying this one was kind of getting me. Battler's purple. Alright. I think, so chapter, I think, gives us some...
Do you think it's better, chapter-wise?
I think it's better to go chapter and then character to, like, determine. Because this kind of has the flow of the story. So what do you think in terms of culprit and how they did it? What do you think?
Well, I just feel like I need to second guess everything. Like,
That's the whole point of the series.
cause like this whole time we've kind of been leading up to the killer is someone who's died, but they've pretended to die, and now they're saying you can't do that. It's
When
too
did they say that you
complicated.
can't do that?
Well, Ben Costal said like
She said the killer can't die.
no, she said they can't like hide and like then slip out of the room.
I don't think she ever said that.
I thought she did. I swear someone said that.
They can't hide, but it's really just how you look at the wording, I think. If you're looking at it the way you are, then maybe it looks like you can't.
So you think they can? Because if we're going by like the fact that they can't hide and they can't die, then that leaves us with Butler, Maria, and George. They were the only ones left, weren't they?
The only ones left, and yet none of them could kill Jessica. Yet Jessica died from a murderer. So that itself should show that.
But could that be a lie? Who was the
What,
one?
all of the last survivors lied, you think?
No, who was the one that said they couldn't have killed Jessica? Okay.
Let's have a look. Twilight. Battler says, the three of us were together the whole time. George, Anarchy, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica. Maria, yeah, the three of us couldn't have killed Jessica. George, as if Maria Chung could kill someone. Maria couldn't kill anyone. And then Maria's like, George and Yi-chan couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid, though.
Does Jessica count as a kid?
You're a bit soft, I can't hear.
Sorry. Does Jessica count as a child?
I would
what
say
age
so.
is-
I think she's like referring to the cousins as children.
Hmm.
First Twilight. So the dining hall was a closed room. They unlocked it. Kimisama and Goda unlocked it. Everyone was dead. And then everyone came. Shannon says each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. And then Dr. Nanjo and Cannon confirmed that Genji was dead. Nanjo says no one is going to mistakenly confirm a death. And then
All of the
Maria says
victims
all of them
died
died
instantly.
instantly. Was that?
Oh, I just said the same thing you did. If they don't
Uh,
instantly, does that mean gunshot wound?
Well, the fact that they're not telling us, I think, just means that it's not important. Like, we have enough information to work with to figure it out, and the murder weapon isn't necessary in finding it out, I think. So, it was a full closed room, according to Krauss. Battler says nothing suspicious was found in the dining hall. George said no one was hiding in there. And then Krauss also says it's clear that no one is hiding. So it's almost like two people backing each other up. And then they destroyed Genji's master key. Because remember, only the servants can use the keys in this one.
Mm.
So they destroyed Genji's key. But at the same time, it does say, of course, it's possible to lock or unlock the doors from the inside of the room, even without a master key.
But then they have to be able to get out.
You're still really quiet.
They have to be able to get out.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't need the keys to get out.
No, but they're
That's what
locked
this
from
is
the
saying.
inside.
Yeah, it says, of course, it is possible to lock or unlock the doors from the inside of the room, even without a master key.
Yeah, but that's when you're inside the room. The killer inside the room
Yeah.
needs to get out.
Do they, though? How many times has the killer been in the room still?
We just talked about this though.
Yeah, we did.
No sneaking allowed.
That's not hiding, though. That's faking your death. The hiding thing refers to, like, hiding under a bed, and the murderer just being, like, hidden.
Or in the cupboard or something. Okay, so...
Yeah.
Alright, I see what you mean now. So, faking death is still on the table.
Yes.
Honestly,
So which one
I
of this
feel
we
like...
did?
I feel like someone is lying about destroying one of the keys, and they've kept the key.
That would be a big one if we can find it. So this is second Twilight. Natsuhi and Krause's room was a locked room, according to Goda. Shannon unlocked the door. Cannon sees them dead. Battler says that Nanjo checked their pulse and announced that they had died instantly. He confirms that they died instantly. Jessica says that the windows and doors were all locked. It was a closed room. The servants were all together at the same time for this second Twilight. So they all have an alibi for each other in this one. And Genji's master key. They put packing tape over the doors and windows. No one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived. Also, like, sealed the dining hall. Okay, I think this is a good one. So, after the second Twilight, they put the tape over Natsuhi's room's door, right?
Mm-hmm.
They also did the same for the first crime scene as well, after that. So, like, they went back, they're like, oh, maybe we should do this there as well to make sure that no one gets in or out. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where it's going, though.
So, they seal Natsuhi's room after just entering it, but time had passed since they'd been in the first crime scene.
So the first crime
So
scene,
did
they
they-
could get out still.
Did they even check? Yeah. Was the door already closed and they just put tape over it? Did they check to make sure that everyone was still in there?
Hmm.
Maybe we should look at...
Look, maybe you should go back
Six-
to the first crime scene then. Who was it? It was all the
Yeah, it
parents
says
that
the
died.
culprit of the first Twilight really did kill 6 people. This, I think this kind of got you a little bit. That was, Beato asked, Byrne. I can't remember what she asked. She asked something and then she replied with, the culprit of the first Twilight really did kill 6 people. That was kind of like a... what's it called? Diversion tactic. Like, depending on how you read this, you might take that as the answer, but it kind of didn't answer what Beatrice was asking.
Oh, so it's like...
So there's 6
It could be taken
quote-unquote
as...
death.
It could be taken
in the first
as
Twilight.
they killed 6 people on the first Twilight, but it doesn't say
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was Beatrice was asking if they were all actually dead, and then Byrne was like, "Oh, the culprit really did kill 6 people."
But they've killed more than 6 people, so
They've killed more than 6 people, and they've killed them at different times
yeah.
as well.
So technically, it doesn't eliminate any of the victims from the
Yeah,
first Twilight
it's
as being
just one of like the red. It's like lying with the red truth kind of
Yeah.
thing. They've done this a lot in the series. Seals in the room. The group sealed the room at the same time they left. The group also, all the seals and nuts in the dining hall mansion will not be broken. Yep. Okay. Fourth Twilight. Shannon and Cannon vanish. George got upset, so they went outside to look. He was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. Nanjo examined, confirmed that. No one has an alibi for Shannon's death. But George couldn't have killed Shannon. And Battler says that anyone other than George could have killed her. They destroyed Shannon's master key. But they don't mention Cannon in his master key. From now on, Cannon Industry has been killed. Also his... Okay, so they do. 5th and 6th. Gordon and Kumasawa died instantly. None of us have an alibi. 4 cousins Dr. Naku couldn't have killed Gordon-san or Kumasawa-san. So after these two died, there's no more master keys, according to Battler. And then, okay. Actually, I think this one's interesting. Are you still with me?
Mm-hmm.
So, in the 7th Twilight for Nanjo's death, at this point, supposedly they have no master keys left. George says, Maria says everything is locked up perfectly. How did it happen if this is a closed room? So you could look at that as like maybe Nanjo's a culprit, or maybe one of the master keys is still in existence. But at the same time, the whole... It says it's impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any other human than themselves. Okay. Okay, so that doesn't really help. Oh. Okay. Interesting. So in the... okay. Jessica says, Maria, Battler, George, Nissan, and I all couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. George says no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. And then Battler says this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. Okay.
That conflicts, though.
No, instantly. Yes, it does. Or does it? There's no way she could live through this. He killed her. Battler says none of them could have killed her. Maria says the 3 of us couldn't kill her. George says Maria couldn't kill her. And then Maria says George could kill an adult, but he could kill a child. So what do you want to do?
My head is empty.
Give me who you think is the most suspicious so far.
I have no idea.
Well, come up with someone. Create one from 0.
George couldn't kill an adult, but he could kill a child. when it goes to corporate select. It's out of all of them. Okay, even.
Who would you think?
I don't know. Maybe Nanjo.
Nandra.
But I feel like it has to be a family member.
Do you want to go Nandra?
What happens when you get it wrong? Do you know?
I got it wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened? Were you like, no, Rikishi got me? Wait, you selected it?
Yeah.
You selected it? Wait, did you select what?
Hey, you said Nandra.
Oh my goodness. Who did you pick?
I will
remember?
tell you after.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Mine was kind of biased though.
These, part of me was like, maybe George, maybe, I don't know. Okay.
These purple statements are quite a problem.
We know that their statements important enough to be on par with the red truth, but they also contain the culprit's lies.
Even the dumbest idiot wouldn't try swallowing a roll whole if there might be a needle inside.
Indeed. If we accept the purple blindly, there's no chance the truth will come to light.
A roll with a needle in it. I like that analogy. This precious vital information might be all wasted thanks to one tiny lie.
Just which lines in this vast collection of purple have lies in them? Just thinking about it makes my head hurt.
Then why don't we try spinning the chessboard around?
Bad luck. Why are you talking about this now? Why didn't you do that beforehand?
Oh, what do you mean?
It's simple. Forget which ones are all lies. Let's concentrate on finding out which ones must be true.
Are there any purple statements that we know must be true?
That's what we're looking for. We'll look for people who couldn't possibly be the culprit.
If
we can do
Nanjo
that,
is the
then-
first person on the list as not the culprit.
I'm pretty sure he is.
I think he might be. I can't believe you selected him.
Yeah, you said Nandra.
I just said his name. Didn't mean it was the option I wanted to go with.
Then all of their purple statements are the same as red truth.
Okay. I'm sorry, Nanjo. I was just sick of doing your voice. Ew, there's a bug. Hang on. What are you? It's like an earwig. Die! Oh my goodness. It's indestructible. With the cold, there's all these like little bugs that are coming into my house. And then they're like attracted to the heat from all my devices.
I see. Instead of searching for the culprit, we'll start by searching for those who couldn't be the culprit. Yes, a simple and fundamental strategy.
That's it. There's got to be someone, so let's look through it carefully.
In other words, you've got to start from square one, huh?
Let's see what they can do.
Oh, is this basically saying you're wrong? Try again?
Yes. So I think Naja is pretty obviously innocent. Like,
yeah,
from the purple and everything.
when they said that.
Well, even just from the story.
And I don't know, since Beatrice is like here with us.
Whoops.
What did you,
I think I...
did you click on Anjo again?
No, I just clicked confirm instead of main menu. We'll read it, I guess. I hope I
Okay.
didn't get the right one. I feel like I did by accident.
Do you even know what you clicked on?
No.
Okay.
How could we know for sure that someone isn't the culprit?
One of the rules is that the culprit can't die. In other words, though it might sound cruel, we can trust anyone who's dead.
Oh, that makes it easy. Almost all of the characters were killed. So we can trust the purple of all those people.
But it isn't quite that simple. There's the issue of people playing dead, which popped up so often even in our games.
The bodies of all victims were examined, were they not? Nanjo even said with the purple that no one would make a mistake when examining bodies.
If Dr. Nanjo is the culprit, then we can't even rely on that. At a glance, it may look as though all the victims were examined, but all the confirmations of their deaths are in purple statements. We can't be 100% sure.
Then whose death can we be sure about?
At any rate, let's check all the examinations over again. Let's look for someone who we can be absolutely certain is dead, in some way more reliable than these purple statements.
So you must have clicked on a dead person.
Okay, good. I must have clicked on Nanjo again or something.
So does that mean everyone checked by Nanjo is confirmed dead?
Maybe, actually.
So let's go back to Nanjo.
Second, so Kraus and Natsuhi are confirmed dead, I guess.
Yep.
And Shannon. Goda and Kumasawa as well. So, out of the victims, quote unquote victims, the ones we can't confirm are Rosa, Rudolph, Kirie, Hideyoshi, Eva, I believe. And then Jessica, of course, at the end, because he was dead.
Well, isn't it... So they said trust the purple truth of those who are confirmed dead. So we're supposed to be looking for the truth, not the, like, lies, right? Right now.
Yeah, okay. So who is confirmed dead? Goda and Kumasawa are confirmed dead, right?
Yeah, that's what you
So-
said, isn't it?
So I guess these
Wait, no,
are
which one? So
trustworthy
if we
then?
look at who did he confirm was dead again?
He confirmed that Natsuhi and Kraus have died instantly. Shannon is dead. Goda and
Natsuki
Kumasawa are dead.
Kraus, they didn't... Did they use purple?
They did.
They did. So what was theirs?
Everyone gathered in the dining hall after inspecting the interior. It was a locked room, basically, and no one is hiding. So if we're going by this logic, that Nanjo is truth and the people he confirmed are dead are also innocent.
Yeah.
I think that, like, we can deduce that Kraus and Natsuhi aren't culprits. If we're going
Okay.
by that logic.
So Genji's master key is definitely gone.
Yeah. Shannon is also innocent, I guess, by that logic.
Why did you say that? Was she confirmed?
Because we're saying
dead
that
But did he examine them? Because didn't they say that Nando
Yeah,
didn't
I
examine
also
everyone?
examined her and confirmed her death.
Okay. So Shannon's innocent, which then
Goto
should
and
mean
Kumasawa.
that Kanon is also innocent by default.
By proxy, yeah. So I think that also means that their purple truths are trustworthy, like
Yeah.
all these people's.
Okay. So
Uh,
let's look at...
so Genji is dead.
Yep.
By Kanon's accord. So I guess Genji is out of the picture. What does Shannon say? Shannon says that each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents for the first Twilight.
But that doesn't really, like, mean...
If one of the kids is a culprit,
Yeah.
they could have lied on that. So Goda says this. Don't think that's important right now. Kumasawa says... Okay. Alright, I think that just deduces that these two are probably not culprits. So...
It's something.
with that out of the way, that means we've got like a way smaller list. It means we've got... It's literally between like... the families of Maria, Battler, and George. I think that's it. That's all we've got if we're going by this logic. Like, it's got to be one of these three.
As in the children or
Right.
their families?
Don't know. Who's to say? So who do you want to look at first out of these three then?
Let's go Maria.
Maria says all the victims died instantly. Put packing tape. Let this look perfectly.
Could everything is looked at perfectly be a lie?
I don't know. Seventh Twilight was Goto and Kumasawa. No, it was Najo. Najo was killed inside the guest house, I think.
There was that weird
they
bit
say?
with Nanjo when they were like that there was those conflicting statements.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So I think the eighth Twilight is good because we have the whole like these three left, and they're all like talking about how one or the other couldn't have or could have killed someone. So Maria says that, well, she says the three of us couldn't have killed Jessica. She says George and Nichan couldn't kill an adult, but he could kill a kid.
So he's a potential suspect if he was working with one of the people that are supposedly already dead.
But if we're going by he's a culprit, and that means he's
Working with someone.
if he's an accomplice, then that means he might have the same blame. I don't know what the word is, but anyway.
What do you mean?
So if you have an accomplice, would you say they committed the murder if they were helping someone to commit a murder? Say if Cannon was helping Shannon kill someone, he's liable for that murder too, isn't he?
Yeah, but you wouldn't... If he, like, handed her the hammer that she used to, like, kill someone, I wouldn't necessarily say he was the murderer, though. He's the accomplice to the murder.
But I was just getting onto this thing here. George and Nichan couldn't kill an adult. So George couldn't have killed any of the adults, is what Maria's saying.
Yeah.
But he could have killed a kid.
Yeah.
The only kid he could have killed is Shannon Cannon and Jessica. But they confirmed he didn't kill Shannon and that he didn't kill Jessica. None of them killed Jessica, right?
What was the reason for not being able to kill Jessica?
Because they were together. They all have
yeah.
alibis for Jessica's murder.
Okay.
And then George says Maria couldn't kill anyone. So they're kind of vouching for each other here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm.
What do you think?
Don't know. It just leaves Battler. It just doesn't seem like it could be
Leave
Battler. What do you mean it doesn't leave Battler?
Why wouldn't it be Battler? What does Battler say? No master keys exist anymore except the 2 keys on the 2 people who lie dead here. It's proof that Dr. Nanji didn't leave the guest house. Anyone other than George Aniki could have killed him.
Can you select Battler just to see what they say? Just for fun?
You want to select Battler?
Yeah, just to see what it does. Oh, her face.
Let's have a look.
The sweat drop. Yes, I've got it. Battler, it's the narrated parts. We've been told that there are no lies in the narrated sections.
Yeah, I just realized that too. Berncastill announced in red that there are no lies in the narration.
Oh, looks like they figured it out.
They wouldn't get anywhere if they didn't.
Are there any deaths confirmed by the narration? That would mean we can say for sure that the person in question is dead.
And that automatically means they aren't the culprit.
And on top of that, it means we can trust their purple.
Let's look for deaths that are mentioned in the narration.
That means going through
Ones
the
that
whole
aren't
thing.
vague. About whether the person is alive or dead, like X was lying on the ground.
Yes, let's read through it once more from the start.
All the way to the start.
Ricky, she's just like, you dare to think that I would make my main character thing.
Of course, there's a look on the doors to the dining hall. But usually remain. There was a chance that they might have been alive still. Everyone was shaking them desperately.
What? What?
That's white text, so the white text is also true. Just looking through this first. George, so that's like is really cemented. George couldn't kill Shannon.
Mm. So we're just saying George is innocent.
Don't think of a reason for any more mischief. Considering the way they were killed, the culprit would definitely get blood splatter on themselves, but none of the cousins had, or Nanji, had any blood on them. Perhaps the culprit has a master key after all. That's possible.
Yeah.
Three of us were together the whole time, yep, we know that. Okay. What, you want to do a hint?
We had hints.
I mean, we've already been using them technically by getting the wrong answers.
Huh. You know what I would do?
What would you do? Just select
Click them all.
randomly. Alright, who's your random selection? Who's in the revolver? Russian roulette.
Russian roulette. Wait,
Give
what
it
do we,
some, like,
what do we
at
know?
least a little bit
Okay,
of thought.
what do we know about Rosa? Have
Nothing. She was dead in the first Twilight.
Okay, Rosa. So we know nothing about Rosa. We know nothing about Rudolph. Nothing about. I forgot his name. Her name.
Hirie Eva Hideyoshi.
Does that mean that they're automatically excluded?
So it comes down to the fact that it's between these three families. None of the kids did it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be, like, within this group of people here. Within the first Twilight. One of them was faking dead.
And George couldn't have killed Shannon. None of
Yeah,
them
well,
could have
George
killed.
couldn't have killed her.
None of them could have killed Shannon. So, is that basically George is innocent? Which then. I just can't see Rosa being the killer.
Why not?
She just seems so like
Well, remember,
the
this
least
isn't...
killer-ish person.
This isn't like, It's using the same characters, but you can think of it as a different story. So, like, forget about your preconceptions about each character and just think of, like, the facts.
Well,
The
I
hints,
don't
what we've
know.
got.
The only thing I can think of is like Maria keeps laughing at all the deaths.
Alright, you can remember that bit about Maria, because that's just her character.
So that it's not Rosa, it's between Battler's parents.
Well, it could be Rosa, I guess. I don't know. Like,
Or it could be Ava.
I mean, of course, technically I know the answer, but, like... Basically, we've narrowed it down. It's one
just
of
that
these
it's just that if
main...
it's someone who's dead, it means that a child has lied, basically, because the children confirm their parents' deaths. So
Yeah, it means that one of them is probably in on it.
yeah.
So, if you want to go by that, then George probably wouldn't help someone kill Shannon.
Exactly.
So you would be between Battler and Maria, and who would help their parents do something.
Yeah. That's why I was like, maybe Rosa then.
Yeah. Do you want to go with Rosa?
Oh yeah, let's try Rosa. She just doesn't seem like the evil one. Battler's parents are the evil ones. Battler, look. The narration clearly says that Najo was killed on the 7th Twilight.
I found one too. On the 8th Twilight, the narration clearly mentioned Jessica's gruesome corpse.
So, in other words...
Dr. Najo and Jessica are definitely dead. And that means...
We've proven that Najo and Jessica aren't culprits. And that means...
all of their purple statements are the same as Red Truth.
This is...
It's just like-
indeed.
This is where we were like 2 steps ago, I think.
know. That's right.
The pair gave each other a high five. Yeah! Finally, they had found their first big clue. A safe slice on the roll with a needle in it. They had discovered some purple statements they could trust.
Let's try writing out Nanjo's and Jessica's purple statements. These are the same as red truth. We're finally getting somewhere. I just feel like
If we're
going
sure
round in
that-
circles.
Dr. Nanjo isn't the culprit, then his purple statement for his first twilight. No one is going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself, becomes very important.
In other words, no one will make any mistakes when confirming deaths.
So, anytime Dr. Nanjo or Jessica confirms a death, we can be absolutely sure that it's true.
Did Jessica actually confirm a death? Besides
I
her
think so.
parents. So that means her parents are
Pretty sure she
definitely
did.
dead. We already kind of
We
assumed
went,
that.
yeah,
though.
we already went through that though. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've already we went down the list and eliminated all the things, and that's how we've gotten to where we are.
I tried so far. Wait. What is it? I've come so far and tried so hard.
and got so far.
In the end, it doesn't even matter.
Come on, Lambda.
Uh-oh! Looks like they're moving along.
It's strange. I find it annoying that they're making progress, but if they did get stuck, that would just be boring. Okay, let's check their examinations and find some more characters who can't be the culprit.
Indeed. What happens if we select Maria?
We're not selecting Maria.
Why not?
Come on. Just
So
put,
that
what is
means,
your answer?
That means
What's
it's
the answer?
Rudolph or Kyrie.
Who do you want to pick? Rudolph or Kyrie?
I feel like they're both just as bad as each other. Wait, no, they're just literally just X and Y if we take away what we know about them. Because there's nothing.
So do you want to go for X or do you want to go for Y?
Yeah, what is it? Just feels soulless. I don't like this one. Let's go for Kyrie. Battler, I've finished checking Nanjo's and Jessica's purple statements.
I feel like we're still wrong somehow.
Yeah.
People whose deaths were confirmed by those two are definitely dead, and that means they can't be culprits.
Which in turn increases the number of people and the number of purple statements we can trust.
Let's start with Dr. Nanjo. He confirmed the deaths of the victims in the second Twilight, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Nasi.
Then on the fourth Twilight, he also confirmed Shannon's death.
On the fifth and sixth Twilights, he even confirmed Goda-san and Kumasawa-san's deaths.
The number of innocent people has skyrocketed. In addition to Nanjo and Jessica, we now know that Kraus, Natsuki, Shannon, Godo, and Kumasawa cannot be culprits.
That's not all. On the fourth Twilight, Bernkastel announced Kannon-kun's death with the red truth. The culprit can't die, so Kannon-kun isn't the culprit either.
Nanjo, Jessica, Kraus, Natsuki, Shannon, Cannon, Godo, and Kumasawa. All 8 of them are not the culprit.
Ooh! All of a sudden, they now have 8 suspects less.
It's only natural that they'd make it this far. This is where it really begins.
Now the number of purple statements we can trust has grown tremendously. We're really getting into the thick of it.
Yeah, let's check through the purple statements of the characters we've just proven innocent. I don't know. I'm at a loss.
You can't remember who it is?
I thought it was, honestly, I thought it was Battler.
We picked Battler though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's why I'm like...
Confused.
So I picked George in my original one.
Yeah, and that was wrong. You
It
wouldn't
was
let me
wrong.
pick Maria. And
But
Shanna's
maybe it
dead.
is Maria. I don't... Apparently I don't know. I'm so confused. I was reading Battler's purple statements. I was like, man, there's so many contradictions here. And now I'm just like, am I just stupid? Like... I don't even know anymore.
We didn't select George, have we?
No. You know what? It's probably going to be like... No, wait. Jessica's innocent. Maybe it is Rosa.
Didn't we
Like,
click? We did Rosa
At
already
this
though.
point.
Didn't we do
Oh,
Rosa?
did we? Did we?
I think we...
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did Rosa. It's not Rosa. Let's go with Rudolph then.
Rudolph?
Yeah,
You wanna?
try it.
You don't want to try George's family first? Or...
No, we've already gone through all of Battlers. We may as well. We it seemed like
Yeah, I guess
George's
so.
family wasn't it.
Maybe it's just been that long. Like I swear it was. I swear the option was Battler. Like you had to pick Battler.
A few minutes later.
Something odd about the red.
So they were implying there what we had already talked about. How
Yeah.
So they killed 2 by the second Twilight, and at the second Twilight, Kraus and Natsuhi were killed. So there were 4 deaths in the first Twilight, and then 2 in the second. I think is what it's implying there. I swear I'm getting triggered by this corporate select thing right now. Ah!
Wait.
You can select multiple. Ah, okay. Do you want to go with that as Battler's family? Or do you want to
Oh
go
my
with George's family
goodness!
or Maria's family? It's one of these 3 families. Which one do you want to pick?
We could have picked more
Ah!
than one this whole time.
I didn't realize. I thought it just, if you picked one of them, it would imply that the rest would...
Ah!
I'm picking Battler. I'm picking Battler's family.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I'm so triggered now. That was the biggest plot twist in the whole series, I swear.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody! Is anyone there?
Oh wait, we're not. It's Angie, not Maria. My brain.
Sounded like
is-
Angie.
My brain is bad. Really?
Oni-chan! Ah!
Angie flew out of the guest house sobbing.
Is there anyone still alive on this island?
When she checked the cousin room earlier, it had been completely empty. However, she remembered that she hadn't seen Battler, George, or Maria's bodies. What she didn't know was whether this meant they were safe, or whether she was about to be reunited with them as corpses.
Where are they? Where? Answer me!
She dashed around through the rain. Where was she going? Nowhere in particular. The lost little sister dashed around in circles, searching for her brother, drenched with rain and all alone. Eventually,
Eventually, I thought I heard voice from beyond the bush. No, it wasn't just his voice. I heard Jojo Nichan's and Mario Nechan's voices too. I called out at the top of my lungs, but they didn't answer. But it's okay now. They're right there. Just on the other side of the fence.
Oh no. If this is going where I think it's going. Just... Berncastle's really mean.
How many episodes did it take you to figure that out?
Yeah, but this is too much. Like, haven't we established that Battler plays like the detective role, so it's not him? But this is just like Burns' game, so it's like anyone.
Who knows? You gotta remember the original games were just message bottles. The first two.
Yeah,
and then the rest were forgeries. They're all games, and then like there's what actually happened, and that's what the cat box is.
Mm.
I could even faintly see them through the fence. When I ran around the fence, I found myself standing in front of a shed or something. It must be a shed to store tools for the rose garden. The three of them were standing in front of the shed. Oni-chan! I cried out, but my voice didn't reach them. Even though I yelled so loudly. Something felt very wrong about all of this. When people hear a voice, even when they pretend not to have heard it, their bodies tend to show some sign that they've noticed. However, there was no trace of that in the three of them. Even though I was screaming so loud, it truly wasn't reaching their ears. The instant I understood that, my dash towards them slowed and came to a halt. Though we appeared to be in the same world, we were actually in different worlds entirely. It was like seeing someone on TV. Or was it more like seeing a ghost? I could see them clearly, but as far as they were concerned, I didn't exist. After all, look, even if I stand in front of them, their eyes can't see me. If I try and touch them, will I really be able to? What if my hand just went right through? I was so scared at the thought that I could do nothing but stand there in shock, even though I was so close to them.
Damn it! I don't have a clue anymore. Someone must have snuck in from outside the island after all. And they're masking the Ushiremiya family.
No matter how we lock ourselves in, someone always gets killed. Ooh, it's the work of a witch after all.
Everyone, calm down. Let's calm down and think. No one exists on this island except for those with a direct relation to the Ushiremiya family. That doesn't make sense. After all, we've just seen several murders that'd be impossible for any one of us. Well, that's true, but is it really? Maybe we've just missed something.
Miss something?
For example, that's right. Maybe someone was playing dead. Since we're the only ones on this island, the culprit must be one of us. That means someone we thought was dead was actually faking. But Aniki, that's impossible. Every one of the corpses was checked by someone. There's no way any of them were faking. I don't want to think about it. But what if those corpse inspections were also faked? It could have gone like this. There were multiple culprits from the start. Then, one plays dead, and the other lies and confirms that the first culprit has died. Then, the culprit who played dead keeps on committing crimes, creating the illusion that some stranger has snuck onto the island. Do you still suspect someone in the Ushiromir family of being a culprit? Dr. Najo was killed, so it's probably safe to say that he isn't a culprit. And we can consider the examinations performed by a doctor like him to be the most reliable. If so, then it's fair to say that the people whose death Najo checked were almost certainly dead. Who did Najo check? Genji's corpse? Kraus and Nachi's corpses? Shannon's corpse? Goda and Kumasawa's corpses? Think back to the beginning and the bodies in the dining hall. Of those 6 victims, Dr. Najo only inspected Genji-san.
But didn't the rest of us check the others?
Yes, but Dr. Najo didn't actually inspect them himself. What are you talking about? How the hell could our parents have survived after being killed like that? Anyway, what do you think you're saying, George Aniki? Would that mean one of our parents is the culprit? That's insane! They were killed right at the beginning, and so many of them. How can you accuse our parents of being killers after that? I won't let anyone, not even you, suspect and slander our parents after they've been killed like that. So...
I knew my mama was really dead. So does that mean George Oni-chan's parents or Battler's parents were the culprits?
Let's stop this, Maria-chan. I must have lost it a bit back there.
George Oni-chan wouldn't kill Shannon.
That's enough! None of us would kill members of our family, right?
So I don't think George Oni-chan will lie and say his parents were dead, not if they were really alive. There's no way George Oni-chan would help out in a crime if Shannon was going to be killed.
I hate that this is like all logically worked out in like the second step. Calmly, as though answering, and that's not calm, a quiz or a riddle, Maria spoke to George. Then, with a blank look on her face, she turned to Battler and spoke.
Battler, you saw your dad's and mom's corpses, right?
Yeah, I saw them. We all saw them, right? Those pitiful bloodstained...
I think you're lying.
Huh? Where the hell did that come from?
Because that way it all makes sense. Back in the dining hall, Battler's parents weren't dead. One of them killed Aunt Natsuki and Uncle Kraus, locked the door from the inside, and waited in that room. The other one took over the matters after that. To break open the closed room of the guest house, they needed to have an accomplice inside. That was Battler. That explains everything.
Enough! Stop it, Battler-kun. You too, Maria-chan.
Finally, all the pieces fit together in the wolves and sheep's puzzle in my head. The culprits of Battler's family. Ooh, am I right?
What are you talking about?
Burncastle?
It's one of them.
Oh, correct.
The voice came from behind Anji. She spun around, surprised. There, covered in blood, yet wearing cheery expressions, were Rudolph and Kirie. Uncle Rudolph! Aunt Kirie! I'm so glad you're After saying that much, George realized what his words meant, and his face twisted into an expression of shock and horror. Maria wasn't surprised. However, she showed no joy at having her answer proved correct. And as for Battler, Anji saw it. That terrible expression, one that she would never forget as long as she lived. It was a demon smile. A hideous demon that she'd never see again twisted its face in a foul grin, and the truly horrible thing was that she saw it on her brother's face. Rudolph and Kirie lifted up the guns they had been holding behind them. The barrels pointed at the foreheads of George, who staggered backwards, and Maria, who grinned as though she was beyond caring what happened next. There was a flash of lightning and a crack of thunder. Nothing more could be heard. Then, as George and Maria were snapped around by that roar, the strings holding them were snipped. The two dolls fell into puddles with a splash and stopped moving.
Dad! Mom!
All of this occurred right before Anji's eyes. Anji, who stood, stunned beside them, wasn't visible to their eyes. They guffawed, overcome with laughter. Then, right in front of Anji, they started joking and complimenting each other on their skills so far. 3 hideous faces, the faces of her family, made Anji want to cry and vomit at the same time, and she felt as though she would suffocate. Anji dashed away, covering her mouth. She wanted to escape the disgusting laughter coming from her beloved family as soon as possible. Then she slipped and fell face down in a puddle of mud. She didn't try to get up. In fact, she instead chose to cover her ears to block out the disgusting laughter that she could still hear. As she did, from the shadows of the fences and bushes in this inky black rose garden, several dark things slipped into sight. They're back.
And buffer than ever. I feel like they got bigger. They got bigger, right?
I think they did too.
They think they got bigger.
Hanji looked around in surprise to see eerie black shapes appearing from all over the garden and slowly surrounding her. It was a crowd of people with goat heads. Their outfits were all different. Some wore suits, while others were dressed casually. However, all of them were covered with darkness, and all of them had goat heads. Anji, bewildered, accidentally let her hands fall from her ears. By now, she couldn't hear that disgusting laughter. However, in their place, she could hear the words spoken by the goats. Kiryu and Rudolph are the culprits. Butler is the culprit. Butler is the culprit. Butler culprit theory. Butler's family culprit theory. As the goats continued to mumble in eerie voices, they surrounded Anji and began to draw nearer. They all pressed around her, each of them naming Anji's family as the culprits. At first, everyone joined in on the Ava culprit theory. The sole survivor from Rikkenjima got almost all of the wealth to herself, so such a theory was only natural. Why was Ishirimiya Ava the only one who escaped Kuwadorian? And why did she refuse to stubbornly talk about what happened that day? It was decided that the Ava culprit theory fit all these facts. He's still with us?
Mm-hmm.
However, when Ava died of an illness, and people learned that all the vast wealth she had created by unscrupulous means would go to Anji, public opinion, or rather, the forgers, created and spread a new culprit theory. This was the Rudolph family culprit theory. If it was normal for everyone to come to the family conferences, why was Anji the only one who didn't come this time? Did Rudolph's family have some reason for not bringing the young Anji with them? They did take Battler, but he wasn't Kirie's son. Then, when it was revealed in some magazines that Kirie's family had close ties to a massive gangster organization, all eyes suddenly gathered on Kirie herself. The truth of how Rudolph had made a killing out of fraudulent business practices was also laid bare, and almost immediately the couple became thought of as the most suspicious people on the island. Hideyoshi and Ava's company might have been heavy-handed at times, but at least it had operated within the law. However, the more Rudolph's company was investigated, the more dirt was dug up. Furthermore, testimony was dug up about various scandals involving party tickets, from the time Rudolph and Kirie were students, and it was clear that they were far more suspicious than Ava's family. And so, in a flash, the Rudolph family culprit theory expelled the other conspiracy theories, including the Ava culprit theory, and reigned as the greatest of them all. It wasn't really because it was more plausible than the Ava culprit theory. they had just gotten bored of the old theory and wanted a new sensation. The goat seemed to bend and undulate. The sky rapidly turned white, becoming a ceiling lit by fluorescent lamps. It's kind of scary. The goats had changed completely, becoming the shapes of girls wearing goat masks. All of the girls were wearing the same clothes. It was a uniform. The uniform of St. Lucia Academy. You want to do these ones?
I think it's actually St. Lucia.
Lucia.
Yeah, I think... I was just thinking about it just then, because I think I've been saying St. Lucia as well, but I think from the Japanese way of it being an all-girls school, I think it might actually be Lucia.
I reckon they'd spell it Shia. Anyway.
Okay.
Just me, at least.
Did you hear? The real culprits were Rudolph and Kitty. I heard. Yeah, I knew there was something suspicious about them leaving their kid behind. Didn't Ushirimiya Ava say herself that she was poisoned to death? Isn't it obvious who was behind that? Must be nice for her. She gets her whole family's riches all to herself, right? I always knew the Rudolph family culprit theory was right. I always thought there was something wrong with Ushirimiya-san. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Rudolph and Kyrie are culprits. Isn't Butler a culprit too? Rudolph's family culprit theory. Rudolph and Kyrie are the killers. They tried to get the family wealth all to themselves, but Ava killed them back and they failed. But in the end, Ushirimiya Auntie gets everything anyway, doesn't she? Rudolph and Kitty are the culprits, of course. Rudolph's family culprit theory. Rudolph and Kitty and Butler are the culprits. Rudolph and Kitty and Butler are the culprits. They're saying your family were the culprits, Ushirimiya-san. What do you think of that? Hey, what do you think? But in the end, you get all the family wealth to yourself, don't you? Even at the end, Ushirimiya Ava never told you anything, right? I always knew that girl was suspicious. This also explains why Ava hated you so much. Hey, say something. Tell us what you think. She really is a creepy kid, isn't she? Can't you at least tell us what you think of this theory, creep? A blade of air swept over me as I crouched down, holding my head. In a flash, the illusion of female students with goat heads that surrounded me shattered. I was curled up in a puddle in the rainy rose garden, surrounded by goats. But then, those goats were also sliced in half and the upper half slid to the side. It was like seeing a master swordsman slicing through a stick of bamboo.
This way. No.
The voice came from that black cat. The cat with the bell that had guided me here. Incredible that it can talk. But that doesn't matter now. I dashed after it. The goat shrank back. A hole opened up in the encirclement. The black cat dashed through it. As I hurried through it, the goats began to chase after me. Countless heavy footsteps thundered behind us. But where are we running to, Mr. Cat? The cat ignored my stupid question. Where are we running to? It's obvious. as far away as we can make it. However, there was an unbelievable number of goats. It wasn't just the group chasing us. There were probably goats hiding throughout the rose garden, and everywhere we went, a group of them would appear and block our path. And each time we bumped into them, we ran down a different path in this maze of a rose garden. So, I didn't even know which direction we were running anymore. It couldn't be. We aren't running around in circles inside a massive crowd of goats, are we? When we ran into the arbor once more, I learned that my fears were justified. The 4 paths that led from the arbor were all blocked by a crowd of goats. Of course, the path we had come down was also blocked by our pursuers. There was nowhere to go and nowhere to return to. We were finally trapped. Mr. Cat, what should we do? We're surrounded. The black cat glared at the goats that surrounded us, standing on guard. It's all over for us. At that moment, I found myself floating in the air. A massive arm large enough to crush my entire head had grabbed my collar from behind. Before I could even think to cry out, I saw, right in front of my face, a pair of strangely glowing red eyes and a massive mouth with jagged teeth and foul breath. The mouth opened wide, and as I thought it was a separate creature, a bizarre tongue stuck itself out. Oh, this just keeps getting grosser. Then it spat words at me.
Rudolph, Kyrie, and Butler are the culprits. Rudolph and Kyrie played dead and Butler lied when he inspected them. Then one of the parents carried out the murders up until the second twilight, and hid under the bed in Nazi's room. Butler killed Shannon and then assisted in the murders in the guest house. The other parent carried out the guest house murders. This is the truth. Then that gaping, smelly mouth slowly began to close over Anji's head. Counter. It's possible to form a logical theory other than Rudolph's family culprit theory. A blue flash sliced off the top of the mouth that was trying to eat Anji's head, sending it flying. I think it's Will.
Yeah, I
Gotta
think
be
so
Will, right?
too. Yeah.
I fell into a puddle along with the goat that was still grasping my collar, though there was nothing left of it above its chin. Without any hesitation, the goats stretched out their thick arms as though they'd been given a second chance to snatch this prey for themselves, and they rushed towards me. All of them spoke in unison.
Anything besides the Rudolph's family culprit theory would be impossible. Absolutely impossible. It's possible to form a logical explanation other than the Rudolph's family culprit theory. For example, a theory with George's family as the culprit is possible. Actually, I think I know who it is.
Leon?
A red flash and a blue line became blades of wind that passed over my head, doubly slicing the arms of a goat that tried to pick me up.
Ava?
I think the next goats dashed not towards me, but towards the black cat that was protecting me from behind.
I'll keep reading it in the same voice, but I think I know who it is.
Okay.
As I sat on my butt, staring up towards the rainy night sky, the massive goats were in the air right above me, fighting the black cat, or someone.
George's family culprit theory is impossible. George can't kill Shannon, so he can't be a culprit and he can't lie when checking corpses. No, it is possible. A culprit is defined as one who murders. No one ever said they have to murder a character who appears in the story. In other words, if George committed murder outside the island sometime before this crime, he could be a culprit without killing anyone on the island, and it would be possible for him to lie.
I must confess I did not think of that. I didn't think of pre-island life.
Very, very big stretch, though.
Yeah.
But it works.
The deep red curves bit into the goat. Its massive body was knocked into the air, became about 7 logs of flesh, and was thrown into the rose bushes. This time, the terrible force of the attack shocked the goats. They faltered, shook, stepped back. Finally, I understood. That red slice. It had come from a weapon that could draw red slashes. No, it also drew blue slashes just a second ago.
So whose weapons can do that? We've only seen a few.
Oh, I can't remember.
We've seen 3.
I want to say, like, Will could definitely use
Will's one.
both. Is there gold as well?
Battler's gold sword. Yeah, he
Yeah.
could do that too. And there was one more.
Did Leon ever use the colored truth?
No.
No, I don't think so. Big Auntie?
There it is.
Wait. Death's son? A Sith?
Huh?
Wait, a massive
Scythe.
Scythe. Scythe, Sith,
Yeah, there's
Scythe,
only...
Sith. Who?
Well, there's 2 people who have used a scythe.
I thought, Nox has a scythe.
No, Nox has the great sword. She dual wields.
Ah.
She's got a short sword and the long sword. Erica uses the scythe. So does Ben, though. It was a massive scythe that could speak both types of truth.
I don't remember.
Red and blue it will. It was when she'd reached the end of the 5th game. And she'd been pronounced a witch.
Did she get a witch costume?
No.
Okay.
It was a massive scythe that could speak both types of truth, red and blue at will. I looked up at the sky, then let my head hang down backwards.
She's back.
There was no black cat there. It was a girl.
So she was the cat?
Yeah.
Was it that she was being punished? Did she got turned into a cat? We'll never know.
I can't remember. She might have said that in like a few chapters ago.
There was no black cat there. It was a girl holding a large scythe. It was a girl holding a large scythe.
How's that? This level of reasoning is possible for Frudo Erica.
When the crowd of goats recognized the girl who called herself Erica, a stir passed through it. It was clear that this person had enough of a reputation to make them tremble. Erica lifted me up, flew into the air, and landed on top of the arbor. Then she let go of me and, still wielding her scythe, made an elegant curtsy to the crowd of goats surrounding us.
This is probably the first time most of you have met me. Allow me to introduce myself. Pleased to meet you, everyone. I'm Frudo Erica, the detective. If you're one of those blockheads who can only think of Rudolph's family culprit theory, stand down. If anyone thinks they can counter my argument, please feel free. Of course, I won't be holding back either.
The goats all howled at once. It seemed to be a cry of shock, of fear, or possibly of awe. The goats surrounded the arbor, chattering but not moving any closer. None of them had the courage to stand against this detective, this witch of truth called Ferrero Erica.
Good grief. All those thousands, and this is the best you can do? None of you has the courage to fight Furuto Erika in a battle of words. Too bad. Let's put an end to this. Then again, I, Furuto Erika, don't have enough spare time to counter all you blockheads one by one. I'll let her clean up the rest. You're up.
Spiderweb. I feel like... Should we know
No,
this?
this is... Yes. Only one character is...
I've forgotten.
When Erica cried out, red cracks opened in the dark night sky. It looked like the spiderweb-shaped fishes that appeared when a glass window had been struck hard. Or was it more like a blood-red spiderweb?
Is this my voice?
Mm-hmm.
I need help.
Yes, you do.
It can't be Garp because she's like got holes.
It's not Garp. Think of the opposite end.
Vigilia?
Not a Beatrice witch, like from Beatrice's side.
But I do the
We're
voice?
thinking of like... Yeah, we're thinking of like people on the opposition side who have been, I guess, evil within the story.
Like the stakes.
No, that's a Beatrice side. I mean,
Ah.
yeah, technically Beatrice's side is evil, but like outside of Beatrice, there was people that even Beatrice had gone up against.
Oh, feels like so long ago.
It's episode 3.
Oh.
Ava's young witch.
Oh, Beatrice Ava?
Yeah.
Can't
Ava Beatrice.
Can't even remember like Ava Beatrice. I know the one you're talking about.
A laugh rang out through the spiderweb-covered world. A witch's laugh. It sounded somehow familiar to Auntie. To me. I think this is you.
And there, standing on the spiderweb and gazing down on the goats who must have looked like trapped bugs, was the witch.
You forget me, and you call him the ruler of Rikenjima. I can't remember her voice.
You forget me and you think Rudolph is the culprit?
It was the witch who had hidden inside of Ava. A witch of the future, who would one day call herself the Endless Witch after the cat box closed over this world.
Who forgets Ava Beatrice and calls themselves the murderer of Rikenjima? How impertinent! On this island, who lives and who dies is totally up to me! All of the wealth and gold is mine! Oh, my voice. Everything about October 4th and 5th in 1986 is mine to do with as I please! It all belongs to me, Ava Beatrice!
Ava swung her one-winged staff at the crowd of foolish goats beneath her, proclaiming their deaths. The ceiling of spiderwebs that covered the heavens plummeted, and more spiderwebs seeped out of the ground at the goats' feet. Then the webs from above and below met, and thousands upon thousands of goats were caught in their grasp. Then, as Ava swung her staff, it swelled, around and around like egg yolk being mixed in a bowl. Eventually, it was all packed into a mass of blood-red goo. The moans of goats drifted out from inside. That entire crowd had been compressed into a meatball a few meters across.
So, you morons doubt that I'm the culprit?
Reaching the Ava culprit theory and giving up there is good enough for the likes of you.
If only you'd just get crushed and disappear!
No other word could do that sound justice. After sucking in all of those goats and the spiderweb ball, it vanished into thin air with a squelch. After that, there wasn't even a trace left. The dark rose garden lay there without any sound but Goda, but that of the falling rain. Ava drifted down from the sky.
Your aunt will always be on your side, Anji-chan. I'll never let anyone insult your family. Aunt Ava? I knew I should be grateful, and yet it really wasn't easy for me to believe that Aunt Ava was my ally. Ava realized that too. Don't worry. I'm not doing this because I want to be thanked. But I'll always be on your side. See you later. She giggled, spun around, and vanished. Now that she had already left, I started to regret not saying even a thank you. So I figured I should at least thank the other person who had saved me. Thanks for saving me. Who are you? I already knew her name. What I was really asking was why she had saved me.
I'm Furuto Erika, the detective. And I'm also a witch.
A witch?
A witch of truth. One who searches for the single truth. And so are you, right?
Those 2 days, October 4th and 5th, 1986, I've been so desperate to know what happened that I took a step off the roof of that skyscraper, drifted through several witch games and fragmented worlds, and abandoned myself to this long journey with no rewards. All I want is to know what happened that day. All I want is the single truth of that day.
Searching for something like that is what makes you a witch of truth. So you're just the same as me. That's why I came to save you.
I want to know just what happened on that day. No one will tell me. No one knows. But I know something happened that day. I'd give up anything to learn what that was. That's the one thing I need to know no matter what, even if it kills me. So tell me. You know, don't you? You know what happened on this island, right?
Does a witch of truth expect to be given the truth? If I told you that so-and-so was the truth, would you really just accept whatever I said?
No, I wouldn't.
What did Battler-san show you today?
Today, Oni-chan showed me a bizarre Halloween party. It may have been heartwarming and a lot of fun, but it definitely wasn't the truth.
Didn't Battler-san show you something and say it was the truth?
It's not. That couldn't be the truth.
Sometimes other people will try to mislead us by claiming that they know the truth. But a real witch of truth must continue to pursue the single truth without being led astray. That's why you can't accept the fake truth that Battler-san's trying to force on you. You care about finding the one real truth more than anything.
Yeah. Oni-chan is trying to confuse me, but it could be Erika trying to confuse you. Ah! I felt that this whole time. Even though he knows everything about what happened that day, he won't tell me anything at all. How is he any different from Aunt Ava, who mocked me and refused to tell me anything, even until the very moment of her death? Why won't Oni-chan tell me? Why? Why won't he tell me? The dam inside my heart burst. Why won't Oni-chan tell me what really happened? Why? Why? I'm the only one who doesn't know. No one's telling me the truth. Tell me! Tell me what happened that day, Oni-chan! Oni-chan! I cried
How
out
you
at the
name is?
rainy night sky. I know. Hot tears poured from my eyes, but they were covered by the cold rain that beat against me, so no one other than me would know that they were tears. No one would know my pain and sadness. I'm always the only one alone. All alone. Someone tell me! Tell me what happened that day!
No one can tell you. After all, you can only find the truth if you look for it yourself.
Where is the truth? How can I find it? Everyone's hiding it. They won't tell me. I'll find it myself. So please, just tell me where the truth is hidden.
Very well. I can tell you. That could be Burn even. As that voice rang out, the world bent and swirled. After blinking several times, Anji realized that the world had become a sea of stars.
This is old Angie now, isn't it? I would
Yeah.
assume.
This is back when she meets Burn.
No, that's not quite right. She goes from being such a squeaky child to having a low emo voice. My brain. There are stars up there in the sky, but those lights below me aren't stars. They're lights from building windows, street lights, car lights. I was floating in the dark sky over a city lined with skyscrapers.
I can't tell you what the truth is. However, if it's a question of how the truth can be reached, I can show you the way.
You. Various bad memories are jumping out at me from the back of my mind. That's right. I was chained in a place, in that strange theater, and forced to watch a repulsive fragment where Mom and Dad committed murder.
I never said that was the truth.
But I heard what you said with the red. I'll say it just for you, that this is all truth.
He yelled out and interrupted, stopping me from saying any more. I was about to say that this is all truth. Isn't necessarily so.
Just how far are you willing to go to mock me?
I apologize, but I did want to test you.
Test me how?
I wanted to see if you were ready to accept the truth, no matter what it may be. The truth can betray you sometimes. In fact, there are times when it shows itself as the thing you desire least. That fragment I showed you was probably the worst one you could possibly imagine. However, if you lack the strength and the courage to withstand even something like that, then you aren't fit to reach the truth.
I have no comeback.
finding the truth as my goal. I just want to know what happened on that island that day. I don't like to think that I only want to hear what I want to hear. Am I really prepared to face the bloody, unbearable truth that probably awaits me? If I find the truth, it'll mean having to look straight at my family's tragic final moments and accepting them as they are. And if I do accept that, it means abandoning my faint hope for a convenient miracle. The idea that one of them might have survived somehow and might return even though 12 years have passed. I know a miracle like that would be completely ridiculous. But if I'm honest with myself, I have to admit that I've been comforted by that faint hope these past 12 years. I want to know the truth, but I want one of them to come back. Those two wishes contradict each other. By learning the truth, I'll be forced to accept that no one's coming home.
The truth is always cruel. At times it can even cut down your hopes. Most of the time humans don't realize the cost of learning the truth. I simply wanted to see if you had the necessary resolve.
I must choose between my two contradicting wishes. Will I find the truth and abandon my optimistic hopes of my family's return? Or will I give up on the truth and keep waiting for the family that will never really return for all eternity? Will I freeze up and let myself be fooled by my childish illusion my brother made for me?
Tell me, Anji, are you truly determined to learn the truth?
I am.
And your resolve will not falter?
It won't. After hearing my immediate reply, Bernkastel stared at me. Are those expressionless eyes of hers measuring my resolve? Now that my brother is covering up the truth even after becoming Game Master, the only thing I can rely on in my search for the truth is the path that Bernkastel can show me.
And deep in your eyes, I see the glint of one who seeks the truth.
Will you tell me? Will you show me that the way that leads to the truth?
Yes, I'll guide you. Did you forget, Anji? I am your guardian, right?
How long has it been since I last heard Bernkastel use that word? Yes. I haven't heard it since the very beginning, when I met her in this future world and became a witch, with her as my guardian. That's when I became the Beatrice of 1998. The one who could defeat the Beatrice of 1986.
You are the Beatrice of 1998, Anji Beatrice. I became your guardian and recognized you as a witch. However, you aren't an endless witch like Bieto.
A witch of truth.
And that's right. You are like Erica, a witch of truth who will seek the single truth, undeceived by any illusions.
I guess the witch of truth, Anji Beatrice, has the power to reach the single truth.
Yes. However, up until now, you have been unable to use this power. Do you know why?
I do now. Even though I searched for the truth, I unconsciously resisted learning the truth.
Exactly. Finding the truth was your goal, but at the same time you were unconsciously afraid that learning the truth would mean losing that miracle of your family coming back. So you didn't have what it took to stretch your hand out to the single truth.
You're completely right. I have to admit that I was naive. I must admit it. My entire family is dead. Now that I've acknowledged it, I must expose why they died and who was behind it. Thanks. The fragment you showed me in that dark theater was there to open my eyes.
Many, many games have gone by, waiting for you to become a true Witch of Truth. But I think there was a purpose to it all. After all, now in this final game, you really have become a Witch of Truth.
Tell me, what happened on that island that day? I won't ask you to tell me directly. So guide me. What can I do to reach the truth?
It's a bit too chilly here. Let's move.
To where?
To a place better for drinking tea.
I don't know who this is.
A massive applause filled the hall. It was an applause in honor of a good fight. An applause in honor of Bernkastel.
Yes, Lady Bancastel's game was another splendid one.
We're going to reveal her game board to everyone here, so have a go at it. It's pretty awesome. But she solved it in the end all the same.
A game that no one can solve isn't a game. The main point is whether it was fun or not.
It's fun. I guarantee it's quality.
Same here. At first, I thought there was no way anyone could solve it. But the way you can use one confirmed purple statement after another to narrow down the suspects made for a great puzzle. Come, everyone. That was Goda. Holy. Gather, gather.
Just what sort of game is Lady Bancastel's mystery? That's for you to find out for yourselves.
Rookie. Objects resembling chessboards were set out on several tables. Crowds gathered around each, looking down with interest.
Aha! It's like a logic puzzle.
Quite an orthodox one, don't you think?
So this is what a witch's game is like.
Looking at it like this, it's just a game. But for the pieces, it's a massive series of crimes.
Indeed it is.
It would not do to waste such a rare gift from Lady Bancastel. Let us take this opportunity to enjoy ourselves.
Still, this is a tough one. It almost makes you wonder if it was made to be solvable, doesn't it?
If you don't start by believing that it's made to be solvable, you won't get anywhere. A battle of wits doesn't begin until you trust the questioner and believe that it can be solved. And we guarantee that it is. Come on, have a go at it. With Battler's encouragement, discussions over Bancastel's mystery game began at each table. The mix of humans and illusions in heated debate was truly a sight to behold. Beato and Bernkastel sat in a chair far off from the discussions. Would you like some tea?
Any kind of calming black tea for me. With milk, if you don't mind.
As you wish. Is there anything you need, Lady Bernkastel? Please add some dried plums to the black tea. That's the trick to making terrible tea drinkable.
Come now, don't sulk. We are honestly complimenting your game for being such a fun one.
Beato, who had emerged victorious in the game Bernkastel had put all her heart into, was in extremely high spirits. I'm not sulking. My face just looks this way.
When I managed to spot Bird's own kind of warmth in that expression, I felt like I climbed to the pitch black top of a snowy mountain to find a beautiful star.
Well, sorry for having an eternally frosty face.
How difficult it is to compliment Lady Berncastel. No matter what you say, she always takes it in a bad way.
That's okay. She's the type who'll keep thinking about it for hours later on.
Oh, the type who lies in bed relishing it while hugging her pillow.
Yep, that's Bird for you.
Beato and Lambda Delta giggled together. Berncastel shrugged and looked away. Seriously, though, that really was a fun game with a twist. Damn straight it was a twist. You think so? Thank you. You could have made it unsolvable, but you still made it to be solved. You couldn't have done that unless you planned on playing fair and enjoying the game. I like games where I win no matter what. Games that I might lose are just a pain. Later, I'd like to switch sides and try another one. I'll make a puzzle and we'll see if you can solve it. A game for you to win against me. Of course, I'll use all the know-how I've picked up in my fights with Beato to make it super hard. I'm not giving up my winning streak that easily. Both you and Beato have such an interesting way of thinking. How's that? A game is just a means to decide who wins and who loses, right? When you create one, your own victory should be your highest priority. So, why would you go to all the trouble of making a game you might lose? What fun is there in a game you always win? That's not even a game. Victory and defeat. It's fun because you're taking part in a fair competition, balanced between those two outcomes. A game isn't a fight, it's communication. You have to enjoy the means. And if you manage to win in the end, well, that's just an added bonus. Finally, I clearly understand the difference between how all of you think and how I think. What do you mean? For you, this is communication. It isn't for me. The world you live in must be pretty savage. And what about you? Wasn't it the same for you until you understood Beato's game? An eternal game is eternal torture. Have you already completely forgotten about the pain you suffered? There were days I did think that, but now it's all been resolved. I won't complain about the stuff that's in the past. I'm impartial, you might say. That is the critical difference between you and me, I think. Your eternal torture was something you could laugh off and forget. Mine wasn't nearly so trivial. That's all there is to it. I don't know your history. It sounds like you had it rough. To think I'm getting sympathy from a mere former piece. I must be getting old. Berncastel, sipping the black tea that Genji had brought her, gazed up at the ceiling with a faraway look. Battler may not have known her history, but even he was able to understand a bit of how she felt. Are you being tortured by someone right now? Are you kidding? I'm as free as can be. I'm not bound by anyone's shackles. Then that's a good thing, isn't it? At least things are better for you now. True. It's much better now than it once was, though I am on a long, endless journey to escape from boredom. Then, at the very least, us meeting here should have been a good thing for you. Indeed, even the taste of defeat can keep my boredom at bay somewhat. No, Battler shook his head and laughed. We're friends who've enjoyed fighting in a fair game. So? If your days are filled with nothing but running away from boredom, feel free to drop by our place every now and then. We'd love to welcome a friend, and we'll be able to set up everything needed to help a friend escape from boredom. You think you can prepare a welcome interesting enough to help me, the great Berncastel escape boredom for even a single night? I do. That's what it means to be a friend. We won tonight's game, so the next time you come, we'll switch sides. This time we'll entertain you with one of our games. Of course, we don't intend to let you win easily. We'll challenge you to a devilishly twisted logic game. It won't be something you can solve in a night. It'll be good enough to make you stay for months, racking your brains over it. You would entertain me, the great Berncastel, as a friend? Yeah, we would. After talking with you, even this dry plum tea is starting to taste sickly sweet. What a pain. I heard from Beato. Sounds like this dried plum tea stuff is one of your favorites. Next time, we'll throw in some high-class dried plums covered in gold leaf, so make sure you come again.
Do you think she means like just throw in some umeboshi? Because that stuff is sour.
It's burn. She is sour.
Fine.
If you really plan to do that, try finding some better tea to start with. I'll never feel like coming again if you keep serving tea like this. Ah, come on. I guess the tea you're used to drinking is pretty damn high class. Next time, why don't you invite us somewhere we can drink some of that? Me? Invite you over? It's only fair, right? We've treated you. Now it's your turn. Yes, it would be only fair. So let's have the game be fair too. Let's switch sides and start a new game. I'm looking forward to it. We won this time, but who knows about the next? And that's some confidence you have there. And yet I'm afraid you're mistaken on one point. What's that? My game isn't over yet. I wonder who will win in the end. After taking one more sip of her black tea, Berncastel set her cup on the table wearing a thin smile. The tea here is far too sweet. It was a mistake to have any. Thank you, Genji. Take this away, please. As you wish. Berncastel asked for her tea to be taken away after taking only 2 sips. Battler smiled, realizing that this was just Bern's way of being shy. Battler, why are you smiling with such a foolish, optimistic face? If you really think this final game will be nothing but a happy epilogue, then I'll have to invite you all to a proper game for bringing this tale to a close. Battler, you forget too easily. Don't you remember in whose hands lie the key to this final game? I think this is Anji.
That wasn't the end of the chapter?
No.
Oh.
They're like pretty close though.
Is this big Anji or little Anji?
Big.
The inside of my nose itched. I've never gained consciousness to a smell before.
And we're back here.
Slowly, I opened my eyes. Wait, when did I lose consciousness in the first place? I don't remember going to sleep or falling unconscious. That's right. Berncastel invited me to come to a place better for drinking tea. That's when my memory gets hazy. And since the smell of black tea is what woke me up. Where am I?
Aurora's study. I hate to admit it, but her taste in tea really is excellent.
I was sitting on what appeared to be a sofa in a dimly lit study. Berncastel sat across from me. And right before my eyes was a beautiful cup filled with hot, steaming tea. Isn't this place... I remembered. I've been here before. Wasn't it? How pleasant it is to see you again,
child of man. Yes, that voice. Just hearing it brings back memories. A long time no see. My master. I didn't think I would get the chance to welcome you into my study again. To think that the game of yours is still continuing.
It won't be continuing much longer. This is the end, the true final game.
This was the study of feathering Augustus Aurora, the majestic witch of theatre-going, drama and spectating. Once in the past, I was summoned by her and ordered to be her reader, her Miko. Don't tell me you want me to read again. I wasn't the one who called you here. My Miko brought the two of us together. Why?
Isn't it obvious? To show you the path that leads to the truth.
You'll show me the way, Featherine? Well, I am the witch of theatre going. Though, I dislike interfering with the actors on the stage.
So, would you rather watch Battler's boring play, or my exciting one that manipulates the branching paths of fate? I know you can't stand even a minute of boredom.
As Featherine rocked her rocking chair, she looked up at the ceiling and chuckled. She clearly holds some key to the truth I seek. And yet you are literally the one holding the key. I can do nothing but tell you where to find the keyhole, child of man. I don't remember saying anything out loud, but Featherine answered my question as though I had. Come to think of it, that's right. Featherine can read the thoughts of a mere child of man like me as easily as she can hear me speak. Well, I guess that'll help us get to the point quicker. Oni-chan did give me this key. But then he just said something about how I'd know how to use it when the time was right. He didn't say a word about what it was used for. Do you two know? What is this key for? Oni-chan said it was something very precious. Explain, my Miko.
No way. You explain.
You demand that your master explain?
You've got to go on stage every now and then. Otherwise you'll just get senile all the faster.
My. And yet I just enjoyed some long overdue time on the stage when Auntie was reader, which should last me several centuries at least. Tell me, what is this key? A physical manifestation of the decision you are to make. This tale, this game, will end when you are asked to make a certain decision. What you hold there is the act of your decision, embodied in the form of a key. The physical manifestation of my decision?
Exactly. Battler was probably planning to end it by putting you in front of two doors, both of which can be opened by the key. Then he would ask you to choose which door to open. He must have told you that much, right?
He didn't tell me anything at all. He just kept saying things like, "You'll know when the time comes." No one will tell me anything. Not Oni-chan, not anyone.
Battler probably wants to respect your right to make a decision of your own free will.
But Anji, you should have at least started to figure it out by now, right?
Figure what out?
There's an answer Battler wants you to choose, isn't there?
Those words made my heart jump in my chest. It was what I had been thinking. Oni-chan is clearly trying to trick me with a vague tale, almost like a daydream. That'll take me even farther away from the truth. At the 1986 family conference, everyone had a wonderful time as they faded away. Everyone is smiling down on you from heaven. So you don't need to feel alone, even in 1998. So give it your all and live on by yourself. I've clearly sensed Oni-chan's desire to end it like that. Every time I ask him about it, he dodges the issue and says something about how the decision will be mine in the end.
That's right. It may appear as the Battler is giving you a fair choice, but he's actually scheming to get you to choose a certain one of the two answers. You've already seen the farce of a tale that he's using to do that, right?
The bizarre Halloween party, with everyone acting so strange and friendly that it was almost sickening. I've already seen more than enough of that tale, so sickly sweet it makes me want to vomit. Where Ushiromiya Kinzo showered me with affection, where his children swore to support each other, where everyone was filled with happiness and hope. He's trying to trick me with those chummy scenes so he can keep me away from the truth. He's such a coward.
True, it might be easy to call him a coward from your perspective. But remember, if you are a player in this game, and if Battler is the game master, what does that imply?
In the past, Battler was a player and Beato was the game master, and they each fought for their own respective truths. So, what's happening this time?
I'm a player and Oni-chan's the game master. Could it be that I've misunderstood everything from the very beginning? Oni-chan said he'd tell me what happened on that day. So I assumed that following him meant I'd learn everything. Isn't that the same as, say, Oni-chan accepting everything Beato said about the crimes being the work of a witch? What a stupid mistake I've been making. So, this game has always been a fight between me and Oni-chan.
I'm surprised you joined in without realizing that.
Battler really is sly. He quickly started up the final game without letting you realize that simple fact. Well, it was the same back in Beato's games. Battler was drawn into her game before he knew what was happening, before he even knew how to fight. That's why I taught him how. And now, it's exactly the same. You were forced to start this game before you understood anything about it, and I've come to tell you the truth. To tell you who you're fighting against and for what.
I was too shocked to speak. And finally, I realized what I needed to accomplish in this game. I've always been passive. I was sure that Oni-chan would tell me everything, so I naively thought I just had to believe whatever he said. I was wrong. That's not what this is. This is a battle between me, the one who wants to reach the truth, and Oni-chan, who wants to trick me and chase me out into a 1998 where I'm all alone. All this time, I've kept on saying that Oni-chan was foolish and naive. And now I see that I was more naive than anyone else. And yet, Burncastle didn't sneer at me. On the contrary, she looked at me with that cold gaze as if to say, "So you've finally taken your first step."
Now do you understand your own purpose, and the purpose of that key?
I gripped the key Oni-chan had hung around my neck, and for a while I shook with an emotion that even I couldn't understand. Now that I know Oni-chan tricked me, it would be easy to hate him, but hating him would be missing the point. After all, this is a game between me and him. Oni-chan has done nothing but make the optimal moves for winning against me. If games aren't a playful way to communicate, if they're the process that decides who wins and who loses, then there can be no fair games. The best strategy is always to trick your enemy into defeat without telling them the rules before they even know what's going on. In that sense, Oni-chan hasn't done anything wrong. He's using that sickly sweet illusion to trick me and force me out into a lonely future. They'll be the only ones having a good time in the cat box, and I'll be the only one chased out. Thank you. I'm grateful. I think I've finally been able to truly open my eyes. Is she wearing the Ushimiya ring?
Yep. Please don't hate Battler. After all, one-sidedly tricking your opponent is what game masters do.
I know. Oni-chan took the best option from his perspective. That's all there is to it. So, I need to make the best possible moves from my perspective. My goal is now clear. October 4th and 5th, 1986. What happened under Kenjima in those days? I need to tear off the veil covering the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. Oni-chan gave me this key, probably because he wants me to put it into the keyhole of his choosing. That's why he keeps showing me this sentimental illusion. But I won't be fooled anymore. I'll open the door I want to open. Certainly, this kind of tale is more to my liking than one where Angie does whatever Battler says.
And then this time, I'll let you run the show from here on out. Tell Angie. Tell her where the keyhole that leads to the truth is.
Tell me, where is the keyhole? Very well. First off, have a seat. I'll go and get it for you. When Featherine rears from her rocking chair, my vision seemed to twist and bend. What is this? Some kind of interference? Why now, when Featherine's about to show me something important? Why is my head getting suddenly... I dug my fingernails into my knees, clenching my teeth to keep from losing consciousness. However, the world just kept twisting more and more. Except for the feel of the sofa beneath me, I couldn't sense anything at all. I'm a cursor! Huh?
Looks like they've arrived.
The door opened, and Hachiru Toyo appeared. What's going on? This is the world of witches, but the world of humans. I was sitting on a sofa, and Amakusa was behind me. There's no need to feel confused. Featherine and Hachijo Toya are the same being. To her, the difference between the two worlds is a trivial thing. To put it in the words of the theatre lover, it's like having a slightly different background behind the stage. So, there was no reason for me to feel hesitant. Should I call you Madam Hachijo this time? How complicated names are. Even though both of us are still here, just like before, you have to wonder what to call me. True. Calling you Featherine would be a bit rude to you now. For an actor, the name of the role they act is only temporary. Precisely, child of man.
Featherine?
Amakusa's eyes went wide as he wondered what I was suddenly talking about. I ignored him and continued. So, what are you going to show me? As he spoke, my eyes were caught up by that heavy-looking object she held under her arm. At a glance, it looks like an encyclopedia with a fancy binding. Do you know what this is? As Featherine spoke, she set the heavy object on the table. The first thing it reminded me of was a grimoire. The heavy book had a mysterious, mystical feel to it, like something Maria or Nei-chan might carry around. And the most remarkable feature of it was the large, sturdy lock that held it shut. Why would someone go so far to keep people from reading a book? Why don't you take it and observe the back? The back? I flipped the heavy book over on my lap. And as soon as I saw it, I gave a small gasp. Ava Ushiramiya Ava? Without a doubt, those words were written there in Roman characters. What is this? Aunt Ava's diary?
Could this be that rumored?
Do you know something about this?
Just a rumor. They say that President Ava had a secret diary, and that she always kept it locked up. They say she took it with her everywhere she went. At least that's what I heard from some of the other bodyguards.
A secret diary? Why is that here? It was in the hospital room where Ushiramiya Ava passed away. This diary... This diary was hidden behind her bed. So it remained in that room for some time after her death before it was found. Then, by coincidence, it was probably found by someone who worked for the hospital, or else the patient or their family. Of course, by that time, there was a huge movement dedicated to the Rekenjima mystery. A locked diary found in the hospital room where Ushiramiya Ava spent her last moments would be absolutely priceless. The discoverer probably handed it over in secret to one of the witch hunters who would be able to accurately determine its worth. Luckily, the witch hunters who got their hands on this book were all noble and upright people. Not content to boorishly destroy the lock and reveal the truth. They simply satisfied themselves with the fact that the truth of that day slumbered just on the other side of this mysterious lock. Thanks to that, Ava's diary has remained undamaged to this very day. It is already known that Natsuki, wife of Kraus,
the oldest son of Kinzo, sealed up all of her complaints and repressed feelings by writing them down in a diary, which she treated like a sort of charm.
So Aunt Ava did the same thing?
It's possible, at least. Opening up a diary like this would be a pain even if you did have a key. It's sealed up tight like a corset.
Amakusa was right. This wasn't a diary made to be casually opened and reminisced over. It's probably safe to assume that she used this diary to forget things by writing them down and sealing them away, just like Ushirumi and Natsuhi did. Then she brought it with her into the hospital room and hid it behind the bed without telling anyone about it. Don't tell me that diary is... Are you saying Aunt Ava wrote down what happened that day?
By reading its contents, you will probably learn everything. However, we don't know where the key that unlocks it is.
I jumped. Then I looked down at my chest. That's where my brother hung that key. Huh? It's gone. The key's gone.
What's wrong, lady? What key?
It's been hanging on my neck for this whole time, hasn't it?
I never noticed it. You had a key hanging from your neck?
I understood almost immediately. In the world of humans, I haven't found the key. The me with the key is on the game board in the world of witches. Make me the me with the key. I'm going to unlock this diary. Featherine lifted a finger, spun it around, and the world twisted again. When I returned to Featherine's study, the key popped back into existence, hanging from my neck. But at the same time, the diary on my lap popped out of existence. Where'd the diary go?
It should exist somewhere on the game board. Since it is one of the keyholes you are to be given, it must exist.
Did Oni-chan hide it somewhere?
Since Battler wants this game to be a game between you and him, it probably isn't hidden completely.
What do you mean?
Even if Butler thinks of the diary as a king, he mustn't lose. There would be no game unless it exists somewhere on this board.
In other words, it's somewhere in the Ushirimiya mansion.
Or you may have already been given an opportunity to witness it. Like how a swindler has already hidden a trap in microscopic letters on the first page of a contract you sign.
If Battler follows the customs of the mystery genre as the game master, clues must be shown. So the choice that leads to Battler's defeat must have been shown. Anji, try and remember. You should have seen Ava's diary in Battler's world already.
In that instant, from the back of my mind, drifted the very first scene of this final game. In the chapel, a book was lying on the altar, a book with a lock on it. As soon as I showed interest in that book, my brother suddenly grew stern and told me not to touch it. That was Aunt Ava's diary.
That's right, Ushiremiya Ava's diary. The book of the single truth, with the truth of that day written inside it.
The book of the single truth. Is the truth really inside it? After all, there's a chance that it's just something Aunt Ava...
I'll say it in red. Ushiromiya Ava's diary, the book of the single truth, has the truth of Rakanjima during October 4th and 5th, 1986 recorded within it. Oh, this was a long one.
Well, there it is. Yep. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
it would have been a bit shorter if we had known that it was multiple answers, not.
Oh, we're having a flash of all the party members?
Well, you want to
Okay.
keep going?
No, I can't. I have to work.
Alright. Any last second statements, thoughts?
I don't know if I like where this is going.
Or where do you think it's going?
Well, you know how we had multiple discussions like prior to getting to this part of the story about how like people remember things and it's possible that Angie is like only choosing to remember the bad things and just like I don't know. We discussed that and kind of justified it, and now it's sort of going into the battle lied.
Well, I
Type
mean,
of
they did say
phase.
that it was a farce. It was a lie.
Yeah. Dunno. Wasn't there supposed to be some truth in it, like just to show
I think.
that the family was still like they were still a family?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's mainly like my perspective on it. I think that I was discussing with you. It's like, I'm sure they had those like nice moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether they were rare or not, I'm sure they existed. But like, for the most part, yeah, the stresses of like what each family member was going through is going to like heavily influence how they like act and live their life, and I think that's portrayed in how we've seen them in like the first two stories, at least in the message
I
bottles.
don't know. I feel like I don't know whether like part of Japanese culture and society comes into it too, and it's them trying to keep faith with each other. But I feel like I would like to think it's like a worldwide thing, not just a like, cultural thing, but that like your family should be the ones that you technically, in theory, can rely on to like help give you at least some comfort or try to uplift you when you're like struggling and having a really hard time. But maybe it's just been blurred.
I don't know. I've never felt that.
Oh my goodness.
I was just saying.
That makes me sad.
Oh, I thought you'd be the same.
But I care about you. And the others.
Yes, sure.
And
Secretly behind my back, I can't wait till I get part of his inheritance. Eh? No.
Money makes things very complicated. It splits up a lot of families, unfortunately. Maybe that's where this one is. This family is at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, money started it, I guess. From like before Kinzo's time.
Yeah.
He got dragged into that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
And look what happened after that. Ushiromiya elders. Look what happened.
They all
Look what
ended
you
up
created.
being
You created Kinzo.
psychopaths. Aww.
Alright, we'll leave it there. It's been like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Till the next one.
Next one is how many more till we're at the end?
I'd say we're at the halfway point.
Okay, halfway. Oh,
Yeah.
there's still more to the story. My brain. I don't know. My brain hardly managed to survive this one.
We're
How
in
will
the
it
final
survive
half.
the
you're
other
fine.
ones.
We got through the Halloween party and the troll game.
Yeah. We're coming so close. It's been like years now that we've been doing this. Trying to
It's been
get through this
years,
story.
and then like, oh, we should do a recording this week, and then it just doesn't happen.
No, I'd be interested to see like if anyone in the comments has any suggestions of what we should do. I feel like we should do something to celebrate when we finish it.
Well,
Delete
originally,
channel.
I'm down for that. Originally, I was like, because there's the fighting game, and I was like, we can just go like look at the fighting game.
Weren't you gonna do steamed hams as well?
I mean, I've already done steamed hams, or I've watched it. It would be fun to do it with you, but the thing is, you weren't a big Simpsons person, so there will be context missing on you.
What? It wasn't like as big as like you and the others, but I'm still like familiar with the characters and that episode.
The episode, it's so well done. I just can't talk about it without like spoiling stuff.
Alright, well, we're like halfway through, so there's still like a fair bit of time. Maybe someone in the comments has like a good suggestion as well.
Yeah,
We're
and
open.
I like the delete the channel option. That was good. All right,
Okay.
catch you next time.
See you next time.